Right. அம்மா ஆட்டிடியூட் கொஸ்டின் எழுதுவா
Hmm?
அம்மா ஆட்டிடியூட் கொஸ்டின் எழுதுவா
Wait.
Sugan, mute please, Sugan.
Good evening, all. I warmly welcome you all to the second day of our ADL FDP on securing the future, cybersecurity, forensics, and the world of blockchain, organized by the Department of Computer Applications, MES College, Marmbally. Yesterday's session laid a strong foundation, and I am sure today's session will take us even deeper into the fascinating world of cybersecurity and forensics. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our distinguished resource person for today's session, Dr. Ebin Umman Philip, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Cybersecurity, IIIT, Kottayam. He obtained his PhD from VIT Vellore in Computer Science. His PhD thesis was in the domain of evidence management in intelligent transportation and connected vehicles. He is currently leading advanced research in digital forensics and has established a state-of-art digital forensics laboratory, Sherlock, at IIIT Kottayam. He is also delivering a certification course in digital forensics offered by IIIT Kottayam for external participants. His contribution extends beyond academia. He trains cyber commandos and Kerala Police Cyber Operation Division in digital forensics. He has published more than 25 articles in SCI, Scopus Index journals, and conferences. He holds 5 patents and has been granted 3 funded projects from AICT, KSCST, and CERT. Sir, we are truly privileged to have you with us today. Let us warmly welcome Dr. Ebin Umman Philip to handle the session for day 2. Thank you, sir. Sir, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the warm welcome. Good evening, all dear participants. I'm just sharing my screen. Ma'am, hope my screen is shared and I'm audible, ma'am.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So to begin the session, before we begin the session, I will just like to have a brief introduction or a discussion on what is your perception or idea on digital forensics. And then we'll be slowly starting, and then I will discuss what is the agenda for the 3-hour session, and then we can start. If someone is willing to contribute, like what is your notion of digital forensics, then we can build upon that, and we can start with examples. Anyone would like to start? What is your perception on digital forensics? Okay, so we may discuss as we progress. Yes, sir.
Sir, means nothing but cybercrime. Means we need to prove a hacker. If we did some cybercrime, we need to prove him.
Okay, sir. You're speaking on one side of forensics. Yeah, I'll come to that because I want to know what is the generic perception participants or faculty have when they hear digital forensics. That's right. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for your contribution. Okay, so let's. Yeah.
Sir, it is a process of collecting information and analyzing it, and analyzing the various information collected on it.
Okay. Okay. So let's begin with a scenario. So we can actually break down this digital forensics. We'll go into the definition and the process and all, but to lay the foundation to make it easy to understand for all, let's take few examples. So we can actually break it down. So as one of the participants faculty mentioned, cybercrime is one aspect. I will come to that. But the first aspect is let's take normal police investigation. Like a police is trying to investigate a crime. It can be a murder, it can be some kind of terrorist attack or terrorism kind of people are being caught up, and they have some kind of digital gadgets with them. Now this digital gadget can be a laptop, a mobile phone, all of this can be a digital gadget. So how can we obtain information from these digital devices, or how can we what is the standard procedure using which we can obtain information from this digital devices so that they can be proved in the court of law? Not just we are just browsing through the devices, but we need to prove it in the court of law. So what is the standard procedure followed for that? So let's take devices one by one and let's try to break it down. So let's take a computer. So you all would be knowing what all information we can get from a computer. Whatever we do on a computer, let it be browsing a particular website, your browsing history, or let's say you store an image, you delete an image, you create a file, you delete a file, or whatever you do on a computer leaves a trace on the computer. So if a computer is confiscated as part of a crime, it can be any crime. So if it is confiscated as part of a crime, how to do investigation using this particular device? So let's just briefly discuss on what kind of evidences or artifacts or digital traces might be obtained from such devices. So you all would be knowing, like, let's take a laptop. So let's say there has been a poisoning case. Someone has poisoned his or her relative or someone. So when we confiscate a laptop, maybe a secondary evidence might be that he was searching for some kind of poison that might go undetected if used. So that can be a secondary evidence. Or so this can be an example for some kind of information that can be obtained from a laptop. So in certain cases, and crime would be morphing an image. You're creating a deep fake, or you're morphing someone's image, or you have stolen some kind of intellectual property from a company. So in those cases, a document, an image, video, or a document forms the evidence. So whether this document exists on your system, have you opened it, have you edited it? So investigating such kind of things also falls under computer forensics. So I think computer for kind of artifact, what would be obtained from computer, everyone can easily guess upon. So just can someone just try to tell me what kind of information we might be getting from a mobile phone? It's nowadays everyone is using a mobile phone, let it be Android or iOS. But let's say a mobile phone is confiscated as part of crime. So apart from all the information that might be obtained from a laptop, what kind of additional information we might get from a mobile phone? Anyone willing to contribute?
Sir, personal details, location, mail ID.
Yeah,
Call
madam.
is-
Call details. Yeah. So all the call details, SMSs, let it be a WhatsApp communication, and all your browsing history, your media content, your whatever photos, videos you have taken. So
Bank
all,
details also.
which one, ma'am?
Bank details.
Bank details, yeah, bank details, location details. So a mobile phone is like a personal companion. A lot can be obtained from a mobile phone. So all this information can be based on the context, can be used to prove a crime. You call someone, what is the which tower you were linked to, so that gives you a location, what kind of chat you were having, what kind of media content you are having. So all this, how we can extract all this forensically, or what are the limitations we have when we deal with a mobile phone. So you might be thinking in some movies and all, people see police just taking up the mobile phone and going through it. Now that is not digital forensics. You cannot prove in the court of law by just showing the mobile phone or showing a screenshot. You cannot prove in the court of law any evidence related to a mobile phone. There needs to have some standard set of procedures and legal procedures to be followed, and softwares to be used for this evidence to be presented in the court of law. So I think laptop and mobile phone, almost everyone is aware of what kind of evidence we would be getting. I would just like to introduce a few more electronic gadgets. So the third one, let's take the example of a smartwatch. What kind of information we might be getting from a smartwatch? Let's say the culprit who is caught as part of the crime was wearing a smartwatch. Nowadays, many of us have smartwatches also. So have anyone thought what kind of information we might get from a smartwatch?
A daily routine, maybe our daily, you can say that activities or locations, as well as maybe health related,
Yeah,
heartbeat, something like that. That kind of
Yes.
medical information can also be stolen.
Yes, sir.
Health
Exactly.
issue
So I was looking
and
for that.
sir, health issue
Yeah.
and sleep pattern monitoring.
Yes. So all those details are mainly in addition to the call logs and SMSs, mainly the health data. So if I say we can know the time of death of a person, if he was wearing a smartwatch, you can agree at this moment, because you know that our heartbeat is stored. So maybe when the death occurred, that precise time. Earlier we need to have that post-mortem analysis and all those things. But if we have a smartwatch involved as part of a crime, we can know the time of death also. Now let's take another pattern. I am telling to someone that I was sitting at home today at this time, but my smartwatch is telling my location was at another location, and my step count. You would be aware that health data stores the step count as well as heartbeat also. So the heartbeat and step count says that I was following a running pattern. So that can be a evidence correlation that I might be chasing someone. So based on a case, we can have secondary evidence that I was not resting at my home during that time, but I was being chased by someone or being attacked by someone. So all this depends on the context. So how we can bring in all this kind of evidences to that particular context. So that is nowadays smartwatches are also getting part of crime investigations. Next, I put a picture of a vehicle infotainment system. So can someone just think of what kind of information we might get? Nowadays all the vehicles come with a vehicle infotainment system. So if we have a vehicle involved as part of a crime, or that culprit has a vehicle which he used to travel and it had a vehicle infotainment system, what kind of information we might get? Okay. Just give a thought. So I will just convey that in the interest of time. So maybe all the traveling routine, where all the vehicle traveled, which stops it stopped, and mainly our mobile phones get synced with this vehicle, the vehicle's infotainment system. All those who are using vehicles would be aware. We sync our mobile phone to the vehicle so that we can play music, take calls, and all those things. So our phone data is getting synced to the vehicle infotainment system. So one case that can be an example for this is that people used to rent these vehicles, and they can give a fake KYC and commit a crime. They gave some fake KYC, rented a vehicle, committed a crime. So in that case, what was the only evidence left was they had synced their mobile phone to the vehicle infotainment system. So from that data, they got to know who the actual culprits were. But not from the KYC details. They have to submit the Aadhaar card, but they gave the fake Aadhaar cards and all those details. But to this information, police were able to trace back to the actual person. So that can be of help at times. Then I have put a picture of a smart home. Can you just think of what kind of evidences we might get from if your home is smart or you are having a lot of IoT gadgets and a modern lifestyle if someone is having, what kind of evidences we might get from a smart home? Any example?
Camera,
Yeah,
mainly
CCTV camera. Yes.
to the idea about, then maybe if it's a pin related entry point, then fingerprinting or maybe a number digit. So anyone can get access of that kind of, you can say, locking system without that hurdle, right? So it
Yeah.
may be possible that it's there evidence that someone has visited the place.
Yeah, so we can know that whether some person was in that house at that particular time based on the CCTV camera or the smart lock, maybe a smart air conditioner. So all these IoT devices nowadays have an mobile application on your mobile phone. It has a third-party mobile application on your mobile phone. So if we get hold of your mobile phone, actually we can get hold of all this information also, even to precise information like when the bulb was turned on, or when the lock was turned on, or if your vehicle has the smart apps and you have a mobile phone, so I can get information when the door of the vehicle was opened. So that was also used in cases where a person was murdered and actually put into the vehicle after the murder, and the vehicle was abandoned. So by all this digital evidences, the police could trace back that the murder did not happen, or the poisoning, or that it was kind of a suicide that was portrayed. It was not a suicide, but a murder. So all this kind of cases can be solved if we have access to all this. You may be surprised to know that, like, your Alexa or Google Mini that we use at our home earlier used to store our voices for a buffer period of 1 to 2 minutes. So if the police arrived, they could maybe get hold of what happened or what conversation was going on at that house prior before that. So that can be evidences. So that was actually an evidence in particular crime. Then it was a privacy evading kind of lawsuit was filed against all these devices, and now they don't store it like that on the device. So, but those used to be at times when they used to store our voices on the devices. Okay, So those IoT devices can be, why I just gave you an idea is people have a perception that only mobile phone or laptop can be used to get evidences as part of crime. But modern days, all these IoT devices, even smart rings, nowadays many people are using smart rings. So all the information you get from a smartwatch is also available from a smart ring. So those information can also be used to solve crimes. So this is one aspect that that police kind of investigation for like FIR, for which an FIR is filed, all those kind of crimes. Then comes the other side that one of the faculties mentioned, like the cyber crime. Let's say you have lost your banking credentials to a banking fraud, or someone has impersonated you, someone has threatened you. So all the cyber kind of crime that falls under cyber cell also falls under digital forensic investigation. So that is more into cyber forensics. So you might have heard of terms like cyber forensics and digital forensics. So today's session is more on digital forensics, and to an extent we'll be looking into a crime, a real world case study of cyber crime also. So just two scenarios where digital forensics can be used. One is this police kind of crime. Then is this. Then there is the cyber crime where the cyber cell and all those people are involved. So to just give you an idea of what we will be discussing. So we'll be starting with how the digital investigation process is carried out. What is the process? Then we'll be seeing how we can acquire data from this computer or mobile phone, all these things using a software named as FTK Imager. Then we'll be going to the topic of memory forensics and how memory forensics deals with just analyzing the RAM of your system. Just by looking at the RAM of your computer, what can we do? But in specific, we'll be seeing just how we can detect a malware that has infected your system and stolen your data. We'll be taking a real world case study of a malware that used to infect people's system and get their banking credentials and steal their money. So we'll be using that case study, which we'll be investigating using a tool known as Volatility. Then we'll be just having a glimpse of disk analysis, that is your hard disk, how it can be analyzed using Autopsy. That's also an open source software. Then depending on time, we'll also be seeing a software, Magnet Axiom, which is a proprietary software. Now, when it comes to digital forensics, most of the software that is admissible in court or which you can actually use in real world are proprietary. They are not open source. But most of the other cybersecurity or this ML, deep learning, all these fields have a lot of open source software. It is not like forensics don't have open source software. For study purpose, we can use all the open source software, but there is a limitation when it comes to proving in court of law using these tools. Not all the tools are accepted in the court of law. So one such tool that our institute has access, licensed access, is Magnet Axiom. I'll be just giving you a glimpse of the capabilities of that tool so that we can compare it with an open source tool. How far ahead is a licensed tool when compared to an open source tool. Okay. So to start with, quickly going through the definition. So just to give you an idea, the first half an hour would be digital forensic investigation, which would be discussion and theory. All the other topics would be practical oriented. So in the interest of time, it would be demonstration. I'll be giving you an idea how you can replicate it. Those who are interested, how you can replicate each of the demonstrations that we do, and the resources also at the end I can share with the coordinators. So how you can replicate, or if you have some students who are interested in this, how you can communicate with them, that also I'll be discussing. So after first half an hour, we'll be moving to the practicals. Okay. So to break down digital forensics, it's like it's a branch of forensic science. You know, many of you would be aware that the medical science forensic aspect that deals with like a murder investigation and all. So it's a huge branch, forensic science. Within that, if a digital device is involved, comes digital forensics. So it focuses on identifying what kind of device to investigate, how we can acquire the data from the device. Once we acquire that data, how we can process it and analyze the data, and finally how we can prepare a report on the data so that it can be presented in the court of law in a forensically sound manner. So doing this in a scientific manner is the whole purpose of digital forensics. So to begin with, digital forensics always deals with data in its binary form. So we know when we take a computer, there would be files and all those things, we see it in not in the raw form like binary, but we see it as a file or image and all. But you know that at the background, everything is ones and zeros. Your entire data, let it be your 500 GB hard disk, it is actually stored as ones and zeros or in the binary format. So we'll be dealing with or analyzing all the software actually analyze or carve out data from the binary form, or the ones and zeros. So we are analyzing upon data based on binary form. So that is the first thing we need to keep in mind. The analysis happens on the binary form. Then, if some let's be aware of our digital rights also. Now, not any police officer, when can they come to us and confiscate our devices? If at all we are at home, no one can come to our house and confiscate our device. They need to have a search warrant, which they need to get from the attorney general or the court. But if we are caught hold as part of a crime, maybe it can be let's say I'm talking a lot of negative crimes over here, but let's say it was a theft or murder or terrorism kind of act, and we have with us in our possession a computer or a mobile phone. In that case, the police can take into custody all the digital devices that were with us. But without any this permission, they cannot come to our home and take our devices. For that, they need to have the permission from court of law. So there is an important thing that comes over here, that is chain of custody. If they are taking hold of our digital devices, they should be entering it as part of this chain of custody form. So you can see in this form that for each device they confiscate, let it be a pen drive, let it be a laptop, let it be a computer, for each and every device they confiscate, they have to fill this evidence form. They fill things in this evidence form, and this evidence form forms the part of chain of custody. Now, what we mean by this chain of custody is, so what we mean by this chain of custody is like, let's say it would be one particular police officer who would be coming and confiscating the device from you. He might not be the person who would be investigating the case. So when he hands over this devices to his superiors, or actually there is an FSL in each and every district. FSL means Forensic Science Laboratory. So the person who confiscates, and the police officer who confiscates might not be the person who investigates it. He'll be passing the device after confiscation to the FSL. So when he transmits this to the FSL, he has to fill a chain of custody form, so that he was the person handling to whom he handed it over to. So this chain of custody helps at any stage to understand at this particular point of time who was dealing with that particular evidence. Okay. So next question arises. Let's say a police officer, how can you believe, let's say your phone or laptop gets confiscated, or your laptop gets confiscated by a police officer, and he is trying to implant an evidence into the laptop. Let's say he's a corrupt police officer, and he implanted an evidence or a fake image into your laptop, and he is saying in the court of law that this image was obtained from your laptop. How can you prove or defend in the court of law that this was not the image, or this image did not exist when the laptop was confiscated? Okay, I hope you get that question. Then there's other side, like how can the police officer prove in the court of law that he has not corrected anything on the computer, but this was the state of the computer when the computer was confiscated, and nothing has been corrected or modified, or the integrity is still preserved on the computer? How can they prove it in the court of law? That is where hash functions come into picture. I hope everyone is aware of hash functions. If at all someone is new to hash functions or this field, I'll just show you this hash property. Can I just get a feedback if majority are aware of hash functions? You know what a hash function is? Otherwise, I'll just explain using a small example. I'm just taking a online hash calculator. I will just tell you. This is very basic. This is just for anyone who is not aware of the hashing property. Now, in our computer, data is stored in binary. For example, let's say hello I have a word like hello, and what this hash algorithm does is, over here I can choose any algorithm. I'm choosing one algorithm, MD5. I'll keep things very simple over here. So hash is a one-way function. For example, if hello is my text and I run it through this algorithm and hash this, I'll be getting such a byte of text. It can be 128 or 256 depending on the algorithm you are using. But if just keep an eye on this text, the last digits 4D7 or something, even if I change at least one letter or bit from this text, let's say I'm replacing an O with 0, which looks very similar, and hash this, I'll be getting an entirely different hash string. So can you think how this property or this hashing can play a role in forensics based on the context I gave you on preserving integrity? Can someone just discuss that? Anyone who was not aware of hashing, if you didn't get an idea of what hashing is, I can repeat it. Okay. So it's a one-way function. So whatever is in your computer, just imagine when your computer gets confiscated, if a hash is taken, if a hash value is taken, when the computer was confiscated, let's say your computer contents or the content of these many images, these many text files, all these things. And this we took a hash value when your computer was confiscated. And if you remember that chain of custody form from our discussion, so in this form, one of the field is entering the hash value. One of the field over here is entering the MD5 or SHA-1 sum. So this, whenever a laptop gets confiscated, they have to take the hash value of the laptop and make a document of it. So how this helps is, so let's say your laptop was confiscated today at this point of time, and this was the hash value of the content in that laptop. Now, even if the police officer wishes to make a modification on your laptop, let's say he enters a new document, he enters a new image into your laptop, the hash value would change. So at the court, you can question at any point of time, you can ask for a recomputation of the hash. So when that hash value is recomputed, if the hash value mismatches with the initial hash value, you are good to defend yourself. Hope that makes sense. Any discussion we need to have more on the hash value, or if you feel this this procedure is not sound enough, we can have a discussion.
So the hash value of what is computed? Because there are a lot of data in the computer.
Yeah, that is why I told things happen at the binary level. Binary level in the sense ones and zeros. Our entire laptop content will be ones and zeros. We take the hash value of those ones and zeros actually. So even if you change a bit, let's say even if you open some kind of document, the metadata might change. So that will also change the hash value. So once your laptop is confiscated, you take the hash value. You are never supposed to work on that original laptop. We'll see how police officers work on this thing.
Sir,
So my question is, what would be the input to the hash function?
The entire content of the hard disk.
Okay.
The entire content of the hard disk would be the input. Okay, just to show you an example of a text, I showed that hello example. Okay. Shall we continue? Hope that, yeah.
Means in the where we are using, sir, one application hash.
Where we are using in terms of forensics or in general, sir? You're asking?
Means real life example.
Real life example, like, yeah, this is one real life example in forensics. If you are confiscating a laptop, we need to take the hash value of the hard disk. That is, now in cryptography, those who are from cryptography and cybersecurity would be knowing hash is used to preserve integrity. In many of the digital signatures or the other kind of cryptographic algorithms also, hash plays a role. There its purpose is preserving integrity. Here also we are using it to preserve the integrity, but in a different form. So just imagine it like this. If you're new to hash value, your hard disk, I am taking the hash value of the hard disk of your computer. Okay, at this point of time. That is what I showed you, with an example of the text string. So if I just give this hello and take the hash value, we get one hash value. Now imagine we take the hash value of the entire hard disk and we get one value. Okay, we are taking the hash value of the entire hard disk. Even if you change the content in any document, or you change or you delete an image, you put a new image, any change you bring in on the hard disk, it will entirely change the hash value of the hard disk. So that is the property that preserves the integrity of the evidence.
Sir, it is one way. Generally, we say theoretically one-way function, no?
Yeah, it's a one-way function.
So means hacker or the anyone they can change it, sir. The culprit they can change it.
Culprit means who says once the laptop is confiscated, it's with the police officers. They seal and confiscate the laptop, sir.
Hmm.
Okay.
No, sir. Before that means after doing hashing also.
They change. Yeah, they can change the content of the laptop. That will change the hash value, sir. That is the whole point I'm trying to communicate. If they change the content of the laptop, the hash value gets changed. It proves that this is not the state in which the computer was confiscated.
So that the previous data they will have the investigator officer. They will take the previous data. What is the actual data they will take? Actual data they will.
Yeah, I will come to that. I'm coming to the forensic imaging part. You mean to say if at all we change, someone changes, if say one corrupt police officer changes that, if another police officer had the copy, can they work on that? Is that so?
Yes,
yes. They can. That I'll come to. How we take that forensic copy and all, I'm coming to. Okay, sir. Okay, I'll talk more about hashes and the forensic investigation process. But before that, okay. So there are certain standard tools in forensics which we are supposed to use. Not all tools are accepted by the court of law. As I mentioned, there are certain validated tools. For example, you do analysis using one tool. There is another standard tool using which we can do the analysis. Both should give the same result. So that is what we mean by repeatability of that tool. So not all tools are accepted in the court of law. There are certain tools that might be accepted in the court of law. And finally, reporting and presentation. So there are people like expert witness who are experts in the field of computers and digital forensics who can give a statement and testimony in the court of law. It's not normal advocates who defend such digital crimes and digital evidence related cases. We need to have an expert witness. They need to justify, okay, it is because of this, I could obtain this document from this place or this registry in the computer that I can claim that it exists on the computer. It's not because the tool said to me like that. He should be knowing what happens behind the tool also. So there's a person who will be involved in reporting all the cases. Okay. So I'm just quickly going through next slides. After the whole process, we can have a discussion on all the doubts. So just give me some that time to just complete the whole forensic investigation process. Then we can take all the doubts and like contradictory points. We can have a discussion on. Okay. So the first thing is how we can acquire the data from a digital device. Let it be a computer, let it be a mobile phone or any device. Let's take the example of a computer itself. I told you, like, let's say a computer is getting confiscated as part of a crime. Let's take an example like two people were working on a computer and we suspect that they are terrorists. Police break into the house. They need to confiscate the laptop. Okay. So what happens next? So let's discuss in such a scenario. So the first thing that happens is if police breaks into a house and they find the laptop in its on state, can someone logically tell me what will the computer, the forensic investigators, not the forensic investigators, the police who break into the house would be doing? Actually, there is a few police officers are trained to be digital forensic first responders. So the title role is digital forensic first responders. They are trained to handle digital devices. So if they break into a house, they find that laptop that is being used by the culprit is in the on state. Can you tell me logically what would the officers be doing? Then we can have a discussion on the process.
They will shut down, sir.
No, sir. If we shut down, we are missing on something very crucial, sir.
I think they will take it for chain of custody, the laptop as a chain of custody, so that
Before that, sir. That is why I gave you the hint that the laptop is in the on state.
Sir, confiscate as it is.
Confiscate as it is. Okay. Okay, I'll come to that. I'm looking for that one answer. Like, what is that we can get if the laptop is in the on state that we would not have got if the laptop was in the off state?
Means
The RAM memory.
The RAM content. Yes, exactly, ma'am. Answer. So that RAM content we can get only if the laptop is in the on state. So if at all the police finds the laptop in the on state, the first and foremost procedure is to capture the RAM on the crime scene itself, if it is possible. And in the practical session, we will be seeing how that can be easily done using a tool. So they carry a particular software in their pen drive. They will be plugging it onto the laptop and capturing the RAM content. So for those who did not get it, so the RAM content is volatile. We would have learned that. So that we are missing out. If the RAM content, if the laptop is turned off, the RAM content being volatile goes off. We won't be able to recover that. So if we need to get the RAM content, then we need to capture that before the laptop is shut down. So that needs to be kept in mind. So we'll come to that. So the first question is how we can preserve the best copy of the data. So what these officers do is actually after I'll just walk you through the standard procedure. So I told you that police officers are actually trained to be doing certain things when they arrive at the crime scene. So they will be trained good enough to capture the RAM from the computer. So once they capture the RAM, they shut down the machine. Only after, if the laptop was in the on state, they need to capture the RAM, then they shut down the machine. Then this machine is sealed and passed on to FSL. FSL is Forensic Science Laboratory. So it is passed on to FSL, and the RAM content which the first responder had captured is also given to the FSL. And a proper chain of custody is maintained on whatever was captured and whatever was handed over by whom and when. So this much happens from the first responder to the FSL. Okay. So at the FSL, let's see what happens. So before they start working on this laptop, they have the RAM content. So what they do is they need to create a clone of the hard disk. They are never supposed to work on this laptop. They are never supposed to work on the turn on this laptop, work on that, and look for evidences. What they do is they pull out the hard disk and they create a forensic image. I'm coming to the procedures, but we need to create a forensic image. Now, what is this forensic image? This forensic image, you can view it as a clone. So there are two types of forensic images. One is the physical copy, another one is the logical copy. So the difference is like, let's say our hard disk is 500 GB. Our hard disk is 500 GB, but the content in the laptop is just, or the hard disk is just 300 GB of data. We just have 300 GB of data on the hard disk. The 200 GB is free. So if at all we are creating a copy of the hard disk to another hard disk, only the 300 GB gets copied. That is logical copy. So if we are copying only the contents that is available or visible on the hard disk to another hard disk, that is logical copy. Or let's say you are interested in copying only the C drive, or you are interested in copying only a particular folder from a computer to you're just
Sorry, your voice is not audible.
It's not audible.
Unmute, sir.
You are muted. You are muted, sir.
Sir, 1 minute, let me check.
I unmuted myself. Yeah. Okay.
Hope now it's clear.
Yeah. I unmuted myself. I don't know where I stopped being audible. Was this physical versus logical was audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm trying to take an example of a 500 GB hard disk. So you're asking something? Okay. So your physical copy means there's a. So can you mute your mic, sir? Someone, one of the participants. So one of the participants, your mic is on. Can you just mute? Okay.
You do anything, mute all.
I think it's fine
So
now,
now
sir.
the issue is resolved, I
Yeah.
think.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. So what I was trying to convey is physical versus logical copy. So if you have that 500 GB hard disk with you and you create a copy of the entire 500 GB, can someone tell me only if 300 GB content is there, but you're copying each bit by bit, you're creating a bit by bit copy of the 500 GB hard disk. Bit by bit means it's a binary copy. So all the bits ultimately things are recorded in binary, that is ones and zeros. You're copying that ones and zeros entirely to another hard disk. Can someone tell me what would be the advantage of doing that over just for better understanding? You can take it this way. You have a pen drive that is of 8 GB capacity, but you are, that consists of contents of only 4 GB. There's only 4 GB content. If you create a copy of the entire contents of that pen drive to another pen drive, only 4 GB gets copied. So that is different. What I'm telling is, let's take that 8 GB pen drive and I'm trying to create a copy of that 8 GB, bit by bit copy of that 8 GB pen drive. That is physical copy. Can someone tell what would be the advantage of doing that? Any guess?
I think, sir, we may get the data which may have deleted previously. I mean,
Yeah, deleted data. Exactly, sir. We will be getting the deleted data. So you would have read like the data that doesn't get deleted, only the pointer gets deleted. So in that case, only the data remains. So it remains in the slack space of the hard disk. So if we need to recover the deleted data also, we need to go with the bit by bit copy. So there are two types of copies. One is physical copy, another one is logical copy. So if it is a selected copy or selected acquisition which we are doing, it is logical copy. If we are copying the entire bit by bit thing from the hard disk, it is physical copy. Okay, so hope that is conveyed. Then, what the first thing that the FSL people do is, they remove the hard disk. They remove the hard disk from the computer. They connect it to something known as a write blocker. They connect it to something known as a write blocker. The one you see on the screen, that black box, is a write blocker. They connect it to this write blocker, and via this write blocker, they connect it to the forensic workstation, which can be a normal laptop or a high-end laptop, or it can be a forensic workstation also. So what this write blocker does is, it makes the hard disk read-only. It makes the hard disk read-only. So by mistake or intentionally or unintentionally, the officer cannot modify anything on the hard disk. So this is what I mean by forensic procedure. You could have directly connected the hard disk and created the copy. That is not forensically sound or forensic procedure. A forensic officer at FSL needs to connect the hard disk via a write blocker and create this forensic image. Forensic image is that bit by bit copy. Okay, it is that bit by bit copy which we create of this hard disk. So this is what happens at the FSL. So if at all the RAM was on, that would have been captured at the crime scene itself. The hard disk is captured at the FSL. Okay, hope that is conveyed. It is connected to the write blocker and it is captured. So one consideration we need to have is, let's say the hard disk is of 1 terabyte in size. So to copy bit by bit from this hard disk to another hard disk, the other hard disk should also be of 1 TB in size. Hope you get that. It should also be in 1 TB in size. So that is one consideration we need to have. So at this stage, as part of this data acquisition, so as part of practical using FTK, we will be seeing how we can acquire data. So as part of this acquisition, hashing occurs. Automatically, the software will do the hashing. So what happens is when we take out the hard disk and create that forensic copy, before starting the forensic imaging or creating that copy, we take the hash value of the hard disk. Please, this is an important point. Please see that it is conveyed. If we take out the hard disk, we take the hash value of the hard disk, then we take the forensic image. Then we take the hash value of the forensic image. Both of this should match. Only then we can say nothing went wrong while creating the forensic copy. Hope that is conveyed. We take the hash value, initial hash value, then we take the forensic copy, that is the bit by bit image. Since it's a bit by bit image, nothing would change. So again, if we take a hash value of that forensic clone or forensic image, the hash value should remain same as that of the initial. And this gets recorded. So at any point of time, after this, the police officers cannot corrupt anything on your machine. So if at all they are trying to corrupt something at the court, you can ask for a recomputation of hash of your computer. Okay, you ask for a recomputation of the hash value of your computer, and if it doesn't match, you're good to defend yourself. Then we have to further investigate when further data was modified, investigation on that metadata, and all these things happen. Okay. So I'll just try to summarize this data acquisition process, which we discussed till now. So the first thing is, before someone arrives at the crime scene, if the laptop is in the on state, they should confiscate the RAM content, RAM capture. They should capture the RAM using any of the softwares, and they give it to the, then they shut down the laptop and give it to the FSL. Okay, so that is one thing. So then FSL people, they decide whether to go ahead with the physical acquisition or logical acquisition. Physical is your logical, physical is your bit by bit copy. Logical is selected acquisition. Maybe in all the cases, the whole bit by bit copy or deleted data is not of interest. Only the C drive might be of interest, or only a particular folder is of interest. In that cases, we can go ahead with the logical copy. Okay. Otherwise, we have to take the bit by bit copy and we go ahead. Then we should always, the FSL should always have a sanitized target media. What we mean by sanitized target media is the hard disk which we are using to copy the contents should be a brand new one, or it should be sanitized in the sense not even formatted. It should not have been used for a previous case. If it has been used, it should be wiped. What I mean by wiping is we rewrite all the bits using ones or zeros. Formatting doesn't wipe the content. We have to wipe it, that is sanitize the media, or use a new hard disk to copy the entire contents. Okay. So then we take the hard disk, connect it to the write blocker, then to the forensic workstation. We acquire the contents of the hard disk. We create one more copy of this forensic image. So once we acquire the forensic image, another copy of this forensic image is taken, and all the work, all the analysis happens on this forensic copy only. From this point, we are not supposed to touch on the original laptop. It's confiscated, preserved. It might be preserved or given back to the victim or culprit, depending on what the court says. We'll be doing all the analysis on this forensic image. At this stage, if you have any logical doubts on the procedure, we can have a discussion. Is it fine? The procedure of data acquisition. And I'll give you just keywords, a few keywords, just see that you understood those things. Physical versus logical copy, capturing RAM at the crime scene. Then what we mean by physical bit by bit copy, that is physical versus logical copy. Then what is the relevance of hashing? What do you mean by a forensic copy? These things, just see if you got an idea. This forms the whole basic of digital forensics. Okay. Any doubts?
Good evening, sir. Hello.
Good evening, sir. Yes.
Thanks, sir. My doubt maybe very naive, but what is the purpose of collecting RAM at the center? Because volatile, I mean, we all know that it's volatile.
Yeah.
Is there any other reason that you have mentioned that you have stressed that obviously RAM should be collected from the crime scene? Is there any other reason?
Okay. I was coming to discuss that during memory forensics. Since you brought up the question, I will just discuss. Certain data is present only in the RAM. I'll give you a few examples. Let's say you were working, you were browsing something in incognito mode or private mode. That won't be registered on the hard disk. That content would only be available in the RAM. Let's say you were accessing some dark web content using Tor browser. This content won't be written to the hard disk. It would be available only in the RAM. Let's say you have an encrypted document. You have entered the password and you are viewing that document. So this document would be in the unencrypted form in the RAM. So you need not have the password to decrypt it. You can get that document in the unencrypted form from the RAM because that was open. Since the document was open, it would be in the RAM. Many of the encryption keys, passwords, all this can be actually carved out from the RAM. We won't be obtaining all this from the hard disk. So many such informations we will be getting only from RAM. Yes. Many of the cases, what happens is many of the cases that comes is something that involves with dark web. So any some rooms you have visited in dark web, some Tor websites, any evidence, or you are doing some cryptocurrency crime. Just imagine you are doing some crime that involves some cryptocurrency and all. So these all things won't be through Tor, through dark web. And so these things won't be written on the hard disk. What they do is they use Tail OS. They use a pen drive. They connect a bootable pen drive. They visit Tor and they pull out the pen drive. There's no evidence left that people visited this dark web, did something notorious over there. But if you are able to capture the RAM, we can get some kind of information about these visits. So all this context helps with that RAM. That is why it is so essential to be collected at the crime scene. Hope that answers your question, sir.
Thanks, sir. This is clear.
Okay. Anyone else? Any doubts still? No? Okay. I'll skip a few things. I'll come back as we get time. Okay. So what are the main digital forensic softwares that are available out there in the market? So many of you would be interested in, you will be new to this field. You might be interested in taking ahead from here. You might be, if you're interested in learning this or replicating this or conveying it to your students. So what I have highlighted in that red boxes are the open source tools. So we will be discussing that Autopsy, Volatility today. So Wireshark, I think many of you would have learned as part of your networking courses. So all the network forensics, all the packet analysis and all those things we can do using Wireshark. So Autopsy and Volatility are open source. We'll be just having a quick overview of Autopsy and Volatility today. Then the other things you see, Encase, Oxygen, MacNet, Xphase, Cellbrite, Belkasoft, all those things are paid or licensed software, which means that we need to keep on renewing the license every year. Okay, so all these are paid software, and Court actually and the capabilities also. But let's say you take someone who is working in deep learning, most of the open source softwares have all the capabilities of a licensed software, but it is not true when you come to forensics. The licensed softwares are far ahead when compared to the open source softwares. Okay, so these are few digital forensic tools out there in the market. Then, what are few challenges when it comes to digital forensics? So, one thing is there is a lack of skilled professionals in this field. I will give you an example. Let's say there is mobile forensics, there is computer forensics. I told about smartwatch, smart rings are there, IoTs are there. There won't be a single person or a group of experts in that particular FSL who would be knowing each and everything. Now let's take computer forensics itself. Within computers, there are multiple operating systems. There's Windows, there's Linux, there's Mac. So all this are there. So there won't be a single officer who would be knowing to deal with all the operating systems. So that general knowledge on all the systems is limited when it comes to forensics. People will be focusing on one aspect. So if you ask me, I am not in that much into Linux or Mac forensics. Windows forensics I have explored. When it comes to mobile, I have explored Android and iOS. The other OSs I have not explored. So that there would be such technical limitations also. But the major challenge comes with rapid change in technologies. For example, now just now that iOS 26 or let's say Android 16 is releasing out in the market. So the current software that is capable of analyzing this mobile phone or operating system would not have been updated to analyze this new software, new OS. For example, tomorrow Windows 12 version is released. So all the softwares out there in the market till now would only be equipped to analyze till Windows 11. Now, when Windows 12 comes, all the internal structure, the data structures, the operating system concept, the processes, many things change. Now, the software people have to learn that, update their software, come up with a new updated version. This might take, let's say, 5 to 6 months. So that gap is idle period. If we confiscate, let's say, an iOS 26 phone, and there has not been any software that is capable of still analyzing iOS 26, we have to wait till that software update comes. So that rapid change in technology is another challenge we deal with. Then most of the computers or mobile phones which we get nowadays are encrypted. So getting a decrypted content from this is also another challenge. Then things have to be admissible in court of law. It's not like we can simply show it is in the laptop. There is some technical procedures to be followed to be admissible in the court of law. Another challenge that comes as part of the cyber crime is like, we cannot say this person was doing the crime at the other end. This is as part of cyber crime. I'm not telling that police investigation kind of crime. Let's say there is a hacker involved in this. Usually things can be traced back only to the IP of that particular person. We won't be able to say this person did the crime unless and until there was a camera pointing to that laptop for which that IP was assigned during that point of time. Only then we can say that person was using that IP. Otherwise, most of the cases come to a standstill to an IP. We don't know which person was involved as part of the crime. So these are few challenges that comes as part of this forensics. Okay. So few facilities that we have at our IIIT Kottayam lab. So we have set up a digital forensic lab at IIIT Kottayam, and it's named as Sherlock Lab. So this lab is involved in training cyber commandos or police officers, Kerala police officers, and even intelligence come for digital forensic training to our campus. So the facilities we have as part of this lab is, the first figure you see is, I mentioned about a workstation. So this is a Fred forensic workstation. It has multiple racks. So whatever I told, that write blocker, all those things comes inbuilt in this workstation. The second figure you see is that forensic kit that consists of write blockers. So it consists of write blockers for different devices. It can be a USB, it can be SSD, it can be hard disk. So for each and everything, we have a separate write blocker. So that is that forensic kit that comes with all the screws, wires, and all the hardware equipment. The third figure is like it's a write blocker as well as a forensic imager that can be used for all the devices. Let it be a hard disk, let it be a mobile phone, let it be a pen drive. Everything can be acquired. Data can be acquired using this Tableau write blocker. Then we have Magnet Axiom, which is a proprietary software, licensed software for analysis. So all this write blocker and this things are for data acquisition, but for analysis, we require another software. We'll be getting an idea when we do the practicals. So this is the forensic, this is the licensed things that we have or the hardware we have at the lab, and all the open source softwares are also available at the lab. Okay. So based on the time, we'll come back to mobile forensics as per time allows us. Okay, because I want to show maximum practical that is possible. Anything that needs to be conveyed at this stage before we move to FTK imager? I'll be just showing you how we can acquire data or capture the data. That is, I told about capturing the RAM and capturing hard disk and all. How we can do that, I'll be just showing you. Any doubt in the procedure of confiscation and data acquisition? If not, we can just okay. So now I told you I'm just going with the practical. So at this stage, in the interest of time, you may be not able to install and replicate this, but I will give you all the guidelines how you can. Those who are interested, you can self-replicate it and learn it on your end, where you can download, how to install, all the files which we discuss. I will be communicating in such a way that you can do it on your own, those who are interested after the session. Okay. So the first thing we are doing is FTK images. So what is the use of FTK images? I will just tell you. You can simply search for FTK imager download. And from this website, Xtero website, from this Xtero website, you can download the FTK imager. So this is a data acquisition software that is free. This is free software. It's open source software. So what this forensic first responders do is, now this software is capable of capturing both the RAM as well as the hard disk. So this is capable of capturing your RAM data as well as that bit by bit copy of your hard disk. It is capable of doing both. So you can download it from over here. You will have to fill a form and you can download the FTK imager. The installation is very direct. It is just next you have to click and it would be installed. Okay. So what the police office, next question to you is, do you think, I told you that RAM needs to be captured at the crime scene. Do you think the police officers would be going and installing the software on the victims or culprits' computer for data acquisition? Is that feasible or is that forensically sound? If they do that, they're changing the contents on the computer and they are not supposed to install anything on the victim's computer. So they are not supposed to go there and install this thing on the victims or culprits' computer. What they usually do is they carry this software on a pen drive or a hard disk. Okay, they carry the software as part of a pen drive or a hard disk, and it would be of sufficient size also. For example, what needs to happen at the crime scene? They just need to get the RAM content. They are not interested in capturing the hard disk. That happens at the FSL. They are just interested in capturing the RAM data. So they need to have a pen drive that can accommodate the RAM. So nowadays RAM can be 32 GB, 64 GB and all. So they need to have a hard disk that is sufficiently large enough to have a copy of the RAM. Hope that is conveyed. Okay. So you can download this FTK imager from this website. Now, if this FTK imager is on my pen drive, now imagine this is on my pen drive, it would be an executable file. This FTK imager.exe is an executable file. Hope the screen is still shared and you are viewing. I'm out of the PPT. I'm trying to show you the FTK imager part. So this FTK imager would be on the first responder, that is a police officer's pen drive. He will be connecting the pen drive to the culprit's computer if the system is in the on state. Just double click this FTK imager. Just double click that. I'll just zoom it a bit. Okay. So this is the software that this is the window that would be loaded on the computer. Okay. If you go to file, there are multiple options over here. Okay. So for ease of showing you, I have now it is this would be what would be the hard drives on the system is my hard disk would be there. If I have connected any pen drive, that also would be can be captured. Okay. So let's take the first example. As I mentioned, the first thing we need to do is just capture the RAM. We need to just capture the RAM. How we can do is just go to this file and click on capture memory. Just click on capture memory. So I repeat, this will be on the pen drive of the first responder. They connect it to the computer which is in the on state. This interface comes, they click on capture memory. Okay. So once they click on capture memory, this is the view they will be getting. They need to specify the destination path. Destination path, just think on your side, which would be the destination path. Can they store it on the victims or culprits computer? No, they are not supposed to store it on the victims or culprits computer. Then where do they store it? They have connected a pen drive or a hard disk. So the destination in logical ideal case will be that pen drive or hard disk. So they will be browsing to that particular location and making that the destination. Since I have connected a pen drive, but my pen drive is not 32 GB, I'll be just to show you certain things, I am storing it into one of the folders on my system. Okay. I'm storing it on a particular location on my computer. I need to specify the name of the file. So by default, the name would be memdum.mem. .mem is the extension for the RAM capture. MEM is the extension for RAM capture. So I can go ahead with this name, or I can give a new name to this file. Then there's the option to include page file. Someone who is teaching operating system, can you tell me what a page file is? Or anyone who is aware of what a page file is when it comes to operating system or virtual memory?
So it is an hidden system file.
Okay. Okay. I'll keep. I won't go into the jargons. Let me make it simple for others. So what it is a virtual memory. So let's say your RAM is just 16 GB. Your RAM is 16 GB, and many applications are open on your system, and that entire 16 GB is occupied. You want to bring in a new application. You're double clicking on something, and you're bringing in a new application. How you can do that is, if your 16 GB RAM is full, what they will be doing is they'll be offloading those applications that are not actively being used to page file or your virtual memory. So that would be like 1/3 of the RAM, or it can be configured based on the system configurations. It would depend. It can be infinite also. So infinite in the sense the size of the hard disk also. So it would be offloading the unused applications to page file. That is how it gives a feel that new applications can be brought to the RAM. So when it comes to forensics, you have the choice. When you capture the RAM, you can actually capture the RAM along with the page file. That is, whatever is offloaded to that virtual memory, you can capture. If for that, you have to give a check mark over here. If you're not interested in capturing the page file, you need not give a check mark over here. So just once this is done, just click on capture memory. Just click on capture memory. It will be taking, okay, just a second. I'm just repeating the procedure. Capture memory, destination path. Okay, so you can see that the memory is getting captured, and it will be taking less than a minute or so, because you are at the crime scene. So you don't have much time. You just connect this pen drive and you open this interface and click on this capture memory. The whole memory gets captured. Mine is around 36 GB RAM. That is why it is showing 36 over there. Okay, as it just concludes, if you have any doubts, you can ask in the procedure. It's a very simple procedure. You carry this FTK image in your pen drive. The first responder carries this in the pen drive, connect it to the suspect's or victim's machine, whichever is in the on state, and capture the RAM. So the RAM gets captured onto the hard disk or pen drive of the first responder. This is the only thing the first responder needs to do. And they'll be shutting down the machine and passing the machine to the FSL. Hope this procedure is clear. Okay.
So does the software calculate hash value, or do we have to?
I am coming to the this hash value doesn't make sense when we are capturing the RAM. Why? Because RAM data keeps on changing. So there is no meaning in capturing the RAM data. So calculating the hash value prior to this and after this. We can take the hash value when we take the forensic image of the hard disk. Okay, we take the hash value of the RAM. I will tell you when, once we capture the RAM, we may take the hash value of the RAM and just to enter in that chain of custody. Okay. Sorry, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Unfortunately, my system doesn't have 36 GB space. That is why it is not completing. I should have freed some space before the demo. That is why it has stopped. Okay. So just have an understanding. Just once you click on capture memory, your RAM would be captured and we'll be getting it in the hard disk. Okay. So this is what happens at the crime scene. Now, this laptop is brought to the FSL. The FSL people take out the hard disk, connect it to write blocker. I showed you that black component. Connect it to the write blocker. Via the write blocker, they connect it to the forensic workstation. They connect it to the forensic workstation. Now let's see what can they do using FTK Imager. Now all that hash value and all those things would become. I'll just show you. So same file. Within file, there is an option create disk image. Create disk image. So I click on create disk image. There are multiple options. Physical drive is there, logical drive is there. So if you're interested only in capturing the C drive or D drive, yes, sir.
Sir, the font is too small to read. So can you please zoom in a little bit?
I have zoomed in, sir. You are not seeing the zoomed version. I have zoomed in. Yeah. If it is not zoomed, it would be this one, sir. Okay, sir. Can someone else verify like it's visible, right?
Yes, sir. Visible.
Sir, it's visible.
Okay, okay, thank you.
It's visible, sir.
Okay, thank you. So physical drive is there, logical drive is there, that many options are there. So now we are interested, if we are interested in creating that bit by bit copy, which I mentioned, there's bit by bit copy, that is your physical copy, then there is logical copy. So now I'll just show you how we can take a bit by bit copy. So I go ahead with this physical drive. I click on next. In this drop down, you will be seeing a 2048 GB, which is my hard disk. That is my hard disk is of 2 terabyte in size. So that is 2048 GB. You are also seeing a pen drive. Yes, 2 GB pen drive. Now, why I connected a pen drive to show you the demo is because if I put this 2 terabyte for forensic imaging, I need another 2 terabyte of hard disk to create this copy. Hope that is conveyed. If I want to create a bit by bit copy of 2 terabyte hard disk, I need to have another hard disk that is of 2 terabyte. I can make a copy only into that. I won't be able to make a copy into my computer because that won't have 2 terabyte of space, free space. Okay, that is why. And also creating a 2 terabyte copy, that is bit by bit copy, would take at least like 15 to 24 hours, depending on your system capacity. It doesn't happen just like copying the file. It's a bit by bit copy. It takes time. It would take around 1 day on a slow system. If it is a high-end system also, it would take 12 to 14 hours to create a bit by bit copy of a 2 terabyte hard disk. So I won't be able to practically show you taking 2 terabyte hard disk copy. So what I can show you is similarly the same thing, but I have a pen drive with me, which is also a hard disk similar to a flash drive. So that is this 2 GB. So I have this 2 GB. I'm going ahead with that 2 GB pen drive. I've connected this pen drive to my system to show this demo. And I click on finish. Once I click on finish, if you want me to show this again, I can show you. What I did is from file, I took create disk image and I chose the physical drive. After choosing the physical drive, I selected the pen drive that I've connected. Now I am supposed to give the destination. Destination can be once I click on destination, once I click on image add destination, it will ask me for the format. So the most common formats are RAW and E01. E01 and RAW are the most common formats used. Let's go ahead with RAW format. That is DD or RAW format. So if you do acquire that forensic image using RAW format, it would be analyzed by all the forensic softwares out there. So RAW is a common format followed in the industry. But if you go with E01, E01 is a proprietary format followed by NCase. So only few softwares would be supporting that format. So it is always better to go ahead with the RAW or TD format. You click on next. Here we are supposed to enter all the case details. This is kind of an FIR in digital forensics. Or for example, this case number, there would be different standards that are followed as part of naming this case. For example, based on the jurisdiction, it would be named in one way. For example, if it is in Kerala, it might start with one code. Within this particular district, the next code. Then depending on the type of case, criminal, civil, hacking, another code. So there will be different naming conventions. But for demo, we can give any naming. Then as part of this case, there will be multiple evidences that are collected. There might be a mobile phone, there might be a pen drive, there will be a computer. All this would be numbered in the chain of custody. That numbering we have to give over here. Then you can give any unique description depending on that case. So this is a 2 GB pen drive. So maybe some, or you can give meaningful sentences over here. What was this pen drive? What is the case you are investigating? Who the all those things. Then you can give the examiner's name. Then any notes you can give over here. Why I am giving something for this demonstration is all this will be finally coming in as a document that can go as chain of custody to the next stage. I'll show you where we get that document. Okay, so I enter all these details. So one of you asked about hashing also. So that would be visible over here, how all these things happen. So once I enter all these details, I click on next. Okay, now I am supposed to give the image destination folder. So where this forensic image, that is this bit by bit copy, needs to be stored, that I need to enter. So I can browse to that location where I am interested in storing this. I'm just storing this in this Cyber Commandos folder. Okay, so I browse to that location. I can give any name for the file. So I'm just giving test case or something, test case 2 GB pen drive or something like that. Okay, then there's a question asked, image fragment size. And the default value you see over here is 1500 MB. Can someone guess what this would be? Any guesses, those who are following along? Here, they are asking for the image fragment size. I can edit this, okay. I can edit this. By default, it is 1500 MB. Can someone guess what this would mean? And what would be the use of specifying this image fragment size?
Sir, pixel?
Not pixel. It's not an image. We are now creating the forensic copy of a hard disk. Now I am showing creating the forensic copy of a 2 GB pen drive.
1.5 GB.
It's 1.5 GB approximately, but what does that mean, image fragment size? For example, if I, instead of 1500, I make this 2500. What difference does that make? Anyone? Okay.
1 GB is equal to 1024.
It is. So 1500, if I give 1500, what difference does it make if I give 1500 or 2500? Okay.
Sir, is that ratio converter?
Not ratio actually, ma'am. Okay, I'll just communicate it. So I'm just hurrying through. I know that I am hurrying through many of the things because my interest is I want to show you the analysis. I want to show you the memory forensics. All these things, a glimpse I want to share. Otherwise, we would have been really slow at this moment and I can take in all your answers also. But since time is limited, I'm just going ahead. So now we are dealing with a 2 GB pen drive. So we are dealing with a 2 GB pen drive. 2 GB is 2048 MB. So if the fragment size is 1500, it means this 2 GB would be split into two. One fragment of 1500 MB and the rest of the fragment, that is 2048 minus 1500, would form the second fragment. Okay, we'll be splitting the whole forensic image into two. Hope you get an idea. But if I give it something more than 2048, that is 2500, the whole image would be a single image. I can show you this. Let's say I will go ahead with 1500, which means that what I try to convey is the whole 2 GB would be split into two. If I gave 500, the whole 2 GB would have been split into 4 or 5. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so it is for this fragmentation. So you might think why they are providing this capability of fragments. So imagine you are having a 2 terabyte hard disk which you are creating a forensic image, but your FSL only has 500 GB hard disk for creating the second copy. So you will have to copy it as fragments. You cannot copy a 2 GB to a 500 GB. What you will do is you will create it as 4 fragments and copy one fragment each into each of the 500 GB things. In earlier days, the people used to copy things into DVDs. The DVD is 4.7 GB. So if you had the fragment size as 4.7 GB, each fragment would be copied into a DVD and the case would be stored like that. That is why we have that fragmentation option. I will show you when we see the final output. So I'm giving 1500 and I'm telling you that this 2 GB would be split into 2. And I give finish. Once I give finish, I have to give check mark for verify images after they are created and pre-calculate progress statistics. So verify images after they are created. Only if I give a check mark for this, only then this hash value would be calculated prior to the imaging and after the imaging, and we'll be seeing the result. I'll show you how that hash value would be coming. If these are given check mark, I give a start. Okay. So it has started. So you can see even for the 2 GB, it is taking this much time. Some issue with imaging, I guess. Okay. I think I gave my hard disk for physical imaging instead of the pen drive. Sorry about that. My pen drive had got a bit loose and it was not detected. That is the reason that it stopped. I'll just repeat the procedure once again. So file, create disk image, physical drive, next. The pen drive, finish. I add the image destination, specify the format, give all the case details. I'm just repeating what I did before. Okay, that is why I'm not enlarging this. Just giving random data, image destination, just choosing a location. I'm giving a name for the file, going ahead with the default 1500 MB image fragmentation, giving finish, and then start. So now it is progressing. What happened is my pen drive got a bit loose, so it was not detected. So what now what is happening is it is creating the forensic image of this pen drive. Issue. Just a second, I will. For the ease, I am just creating a folder on my desktop itself. Same procedure I am repeating. I'll just give one more try.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir. You may ask.
Is it okay if we take a quick 5-minute break?
Just now. Once this is over, this topic is over. Before the
yeah.
next topic, 5 minutes, I will just complete this.
Okay, sir.
So my is okay, man. Then we can have a 5-minute break. In that 5-minute break, I will just also clear some space on my laptop.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So in the meantime, can I ask you out?
Yeah.
Let others go. I'm just asking, like, it is showing you do not have enough space and you want to copy it on the drive. So suppose we are copying a hard disk of 2 terabyte on 4 different 500 GB hard disks, then
That is not possible. That is not possible, sir. We always need to have one hard disk of 2 terabyte. I told you, then we need to have a backup, one more copy. For that, we can use from that 2 terabyte, we'll be having 4 segments, and that 4 segments can be copied into 4 different segments.
So then why, just now we discussed about the fragment size of 1500. So that means we were talking now that 1500 is the size if the pen drive is of 2 GB. Okay.
Okay.
Then if you want to create a single copy, then you will keep a fragment size of greater than 2 GB. Okay. Otherwise, if you keep the fragment size as less than 2 GB, then it will be created into parts.
Okay.
So you are saying that the destination is going to be larger, but the source is going to be smaller, and we store the source part into 2 different parts. Is it that?
I'll repeat it, sir. Let's take it like this. First, creating the copy of a 2 GB or pen drive, we need to have at least 2 GB. Let's take a bigger example. I have a 1 terabyte hard disk. I need to create a copy of 1 terabyte hard disk. But I need to, for that, obviously, I need to have a 1 terabyte hard disk with me. Okay. Or what I can do is, in that workstation I showed you, in that PPT, I can have 4 500 GB hard disk or 2 500 GB hard disk also. That is possible if I have a workstation. Only if I have a workstation that can accommodate multiple racks of hard disk. Is that clear, sir? That is possible only if I have a workstation that can accommodate multiple racks. Now, if I don't have a workstation that accommodates multiple racks where I can put multiple hard disk of 500 GB, what I need to have another hard disk of 1 terabyte. Into that, I copy this 1 terabyte. But we cannot also work on that image. We need to also have a copy of that as a backup. When we create that copy, if our FSL doesn't have another 1 terabyte, that instance we can have 2 500 GBs, and one fragment can be copied into one hard disk and another can be copied into another.
Okay.
Okay. Was that your doubt, sir? I'm not sure.
No, I'm clear now. But
Okay.
sir, in the screen, what we are seeing, it was showing that there is not enough space. Do you want to copy to another location? So it was saying that your laptop hard disk is full and you're trying to copy a 2 GB pen
Yeah,
drive.
yeah, yeah. If
over
I
the
have
laptop.
multiple another hard disk connected, I could have done that.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Now I have made space. I'd never assumed that my computer was so full before the session. Okay, I'll just wait for 5 minutes for the break to end, and I will just continue with the demo.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Dear participants, as per today's schedule, both sessions are handled by the same resource person. So let's take a quick 5-minute break to relax and recharge. So we can be back by, I think, 7:45 p.m. And I request you not to leave the meeting, just stay and relax.
I'm available here. If any of you would like to have an offline discussion at this time, you're free to.
Okay, sir, I would have another doubt. What is the importance of this hashing? Means, why do we say that we are talking about hashing? Does the hard disk stores all the information in the form of hash only?
No, no, no. The hard disk data is in ones and zeros. That do you accept, sir?
Yes.
Everything is in ones and zeros. So let's say at this moment, the state of the hard disk would be a particular combination of ones and zeros. If I take the hash of that hard disk, I'll be getting a value.
Okay, understood.
Okay.
Now you're talking about the avalanche effect should not happen later. So right now, if I'm taking the hash, it would be a single value. If it has been modified, it would be a different value.
Yeah, simple, sir. Yes, sir. Exactly. If the in order to just prevent that integrity or that corruption to happen, for both the parties to prove that nothing has been modified, we go with the hash concept.
So, but how can, means right now, suppose right now it's 740 and my hard disk is having some kind of data. So the hash value would be different. Okay.
No, your hard disk should not be in a writing state. That is why we pull out the hard disk, connect it to a write blocker, and then we take do all these things, sir.
Okay. So how the other person proves that the hash was incorrect? How can somebody else prove that there
Oh,
was
okay, okay. Now the police officers at the FSL take the hash value. It goes as part of chain of custody. It is time stamped also. Okay.
Okay.
Now let's say when the evidence was preserved, there is a corrupt police officer who is not aware of all this forensics and all, but as a part of bribing, he tries to modify the data.
Okay.
Now the hash gets modified. No, the contents get modified.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything about the hash. But okay, now this content might at a later stage, again, if a thing is taken, let's say again a forensic image is taken and we work on that, or we recompute the hash, it won't be the same as the previous. That's all. But if you work on that forensic image that was taken already, then things are correct. Then the things are correct. But things may be that the court may say that okay, it is over. It is not a state case. It is now a central case. So we might have to transfer this hard disk to another FSL. So they start it all over again. They take again the hash value. So if at all something has changed in between the first and second, it would be evident.
Okay. And sir, is it so that suppose my laptop is confiscated by the police? Okay.
Okay.
So if they find or if they take out a hash, are they going to give me also that this is the current hash of the
Yes,
system?
yes. Yeah. We need to get that copy. That copy we signed by 2 eyewitnesses. We will also be getting that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
But many of us are not aware of this procedure, so we don't get or collect it. But
Yeah.
legally, we should be getting it.
Okay.
So this was the end result. I will come to that when we start back. In the meantime, if we need to have any discussion, we can. Anyone who is already into forensics, working on forensics in the participants?
Suppose I want to get into forensics. So
Okay, sir.
what should we see, sir? I am a professor for
Okay.
the last 16 years. Now, suppose if I want to get into forensics, this is possible at this age, and
There's no age limit, sir. And also, this is an interdisciplinary field. You will be surprised to know that, usually, like the FSL people are from this physics background, not even computer background.
yeah.
Because earlier the computers used to be related to physics, so there's an age-old trend that the basic qualification used to be BSc physics, and they learn computers. Now things have changed. Now, yeah. Thing is, we need to have at any stage we can come into forensics. Myself,
Sir,
I'm just 3 years old into this. Just yeah.
My question is that so most of the time student go for developing or some similar kind of, you can say that job field, right? So many of them are not talking about cyber security or digital forensics, something like that. That these terms are very not familiar to the student. But so if suppose I want to make them aware or I want to introduce them to pursue their career in cyber forensic, right? How can I approach them? How can I guide them so that they can pursue their career, right? Many of the time syllabus is not included in computer science background. Mindly, hardly they have one subject or some introduction kind of things for the cyber security, cyber forensic, but that is not sufficient enough for any student to get into it. So can you give some idea how can I guide my students so that they can start learning from third semester itself and they can learn by themselves?
Okay, sir. So, like how we conduct labs and the practical side is like, as I mentioned, there's this digital forensic side and that cyber forensic side also. So, cyber forensic as part of the networking course, you can maybe introduce. When you introduce them to Wireshark, which is as part of networking courses in most of the institutes, you can also ask them to study to analyze these packets. Whether let's say you get this PCAP files and dump files for Wireshark. They can analyze these packets and learn about cyber attacks. It can be a DOS attack or it can be some botnet attack. All these attacks can be analyzed from these packets. So that is one thing. If they want to specifically get into digital forensics, what they can do is they can take a VM. They can create a new virtual machine. So then they can start creating artifacts on this. Artifacts, by what I mean is they can create an image, delete that, create document, delete something. They can install a ransomware. They can install a malware on your system. After all this, you can take the forensic image or copy of this and start investigating. They themselves create the data set. They install, now they are safe because they're doing it on a VM. On that VM, they can do all this stuff, and they can take the forensic image, and with all this open source software, they can start analyzing this image and start learning that. So that is one approach that we follow in the lab. The cases are created by the students itself. They are asked to spend 2 to 3 weeks on building the case. They build the case for 2 to 3 weeks. It can be that some kind of crime investigation scenario, or let's say they develop a malware, a new malware, they install it on laptop. We'll be just seeing a volatility based investigation after this this example. So then I'll explain how that malware kind of investigation can be taken ahead. But if a digital forensic is just is the interest of students, but for that the government jobs are very limited when it comes to this police kind of investigation. The cyber forensics has scope in both private and all the firms. This is very limited when it comes to getting into FSL has limited job opportunities. So we get only occasional calls for that. The best way to learn is create cases, do something on that machine, so you know the ground truth and that benchmark. Then you know what to search for. Then you need to understand computers in depth, not just the analysis result you get from the computers. For example, Windows has registries. So things are getting stored in each and every location because of this registry locations. You need to start learning about this registries and go in depth about Windows process. So yeah, a few approaches. Yeah. Ma'am, can we restart?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. That was really a great guidelines to introduce how these kind of topics to our students.
Okay.
So welcome back, dear participants. I think we can resume our session. Over to you, Ebin, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, so what we were trying to do was create a forensic image of the pen drive. So before that, I was having space issues on my computer, which I was not aware. That is why it was not getting continued. So this is the end result that we get. So I'll just zoom it a bit. You asked about hash and all. So see, this is the name of the case. How many sectors were there on the hard disk or that pen drive? You know this about sectors, cylinders, and all those things we learn in computer organization. So sector count would be shown. Then you can see the computed hash. So there is 2 hash results, MD5, which is one algorithm, SHA-1, which is another algorithm. So my screen is shared, right? Can someone just okay,
Yes.
thank you. Okay. So MD5 is there, SHA-1 is there. So MD5, you can see the computed hash and the report hash matches. So this shows that, so this computed hash is taken before the forensic image was, we started the image acquisition, and the report hash is taken after it was completed. So this two match and it has to match. So we are good to go. And this hash value is stored as part of all the chain of custody and all those things. Okay. This is the end result. I'll just show you one report also which we get. So once I close this, so I had stored this in one folder. I'll just show you. So I told you that since we had that fragment, 1500 MB fragment, you can see I got test 2GB001 and sorry, this one, test case 001 and test case 002. I get 2 because 2 fragments have been created. I told you I'll show you in the demo. So one is of 1500 MB, the rest, that is 2048 minus that 1500 comes in the second one. We won't be able to open it now because it requires another software to be analyzed. Okay. So these are the 2 things. Then we'll be getting a report also along with this. So this report goes as part of the chain of custody. So we had entered many details. So which software was used to acquire this, those details will be there. Then we had entered that case number, evidence number, all those things that comes as part of this report. And also it would be saying how many cylinders, sectors, and all those things were available on the drive, and what was the hashes that was computed. So you can see there are 2 hashes, MD5 and SHA-1. When it was done, even timestamp, when the acquisition started, when it finished. So it started at September 23, 7:39. It finished by 7:41. Okay. So all this goes as part of the chain of custody. Okay, so that is with FTK imaging, how you create the image of a hard disk. Any doubts with that? Otherwise, we can go to the volatility part. This is the most basic. If at all you are doing or learning this, you have what the best way is. How you can simply start is take a pen drive. One more thing I can show you with FTK images is many of you would be interested in recovering deleted content from your pen drive. If someone is interested, this FTK can help you with that also. For example, click on File, Add Evidence. I'm just adding that pen drive, this interface. I had a pen drive. I'm not creating the forensic image, but I'm just adding that pen drive. So you can see if I expand this pen drive has been added to that interface. If I expand this, I'll be seeing all the contents on the pen drive. So if I see an into mark, it means that is a deleted content. If I see an into mark, that is a deleted content. I can always right click on that content and extract it to my desktop or wherever I want it. Okay. So all the deleted content also stays on the hard disk until it is overwritten. If there is a lot of data, it would get overwritten. Otherwise, it would be there on the hard disk. So you can just right click it and export the file. So if you have some deleted content on your pen drive which you have missed and you want to recover, you can even use FTK image is not a recovery software. I am repeating that, but it can also be used to see if there exists any deleted content, because you connect a hard disk, you want to see if there is some important thing that has been deleted, then you decide whether to go ahead with the physical copy or the logical copy. Okay. So that is with FTK Imager. There are many features for FTK Imager. I have just introduced you to the most basic feature of FTK Imager. Okay, shall we continue with the next topic? Just going to memory forensics. We are running short of time. I'll do one thing, memory forensics. I will be taking, it's a practical topic again. Maybe we will be able to complete only memory forensics. Autopsy we might not get time to go ahead. Let's see how the time we can plan. So coming to memory forensics. So what we discussed till now, I'm just quickly recapping. So if the system is the on state, we capture the RAM, shut down the machine, give it to FSL. It is the FSL, they connect it to the write blocker and take the forensic image. We can take physical image or logical image. The hashes should match before and after taking the image. So that is the summary of what we just discussed and how we can take it using FTK Imager. Okay, now we are going to a different aspect actually. So many of you are actually interested in cyber forensics, I understand, because most of your questions were based on cyber security and cyber forensics also. So this is a cyber forensic kind of investigation that we are going to. Okay. So in the beginning, one of you, one of you asked why we require RAM. I told you like I had planned to discuss it in the later session. So and that stage we had already discussed what RAM contains. So I told you all the programs or all the files, all the applications that were currently being executed on the system. We have a proof for that only from the RAM. If you were browsing dark web, Tor, or you were doing cryptocurrency transaction or anything illegal on your system, that cannot be there on the hard disk. The only place is RAM. So even if you were browsing something in private mode or incognito mode, RAM would capture that. Your hard disk won't leave a trace, RAM would capture that. All the network connections your computer is connected to, which all networks your computer is connecting to, that would be there in the RAM. Now, today we'll be discussing this in terms of mainly malware analysis, or let's say a malware has infected your system, how we can use RAM alone, how we can use RAM data alone to do the investigation. Okay, so I'll just take a case study. The case study is like, imagine you are a victim of a bank like credential stealing. you as a victim has lost money as part of some banking fraud. You feel that your banking credentials have been lost. That is, your username and password has been lost, and now you approach the cyber cell. Okay, this is a case study, and the cyber cell is going to investigate what happened on your machine. Okay, I repeat the scenario because this scenario will help us to better understand the case and the practicals which we are going to do. Okay, I repeat, you are a victim of some kind of credential. You have lost your credential, that is username and password, and somehow your bank amount has been stolen by some hacker. You doubt some malware or something was there on your system. You approach the cyber cell, and we will be investigating the case from a perspective of a cyber cell investigating officer just by taking the RAM of the machine. We will just take the RAM content of the, we will just capture the RAM of the machine, and we will try to investigate what happened on the machine. So that is the approach we are going to see next. Okay, is the objective clear? So, and I think as part of yesterday's discussion, you might have been already introduced to cyber kill chain. Can someone just give me?
Yes, sir. Yesterday.
Yes, yeah. Cyber kill chain, you already know. So cyber kill chain mainly discusses how a malware lands on your machine. So I'm not discussing that further, but I will just quickly, in 1 or 2 sentences, if someone was not there yesterday, I will just say this. So what these hackers do is they run automatic bots to understand the vulnerabilities of all the machines out there. That is the reconnaissance phase. It can be active, passive. You might have listened to that yesterday. So let's say you are still running a Windows XP, which means you are vulnerable to many of the attacks out there. So all this automatic scanning happens, and they have actually created malware for each and every scenario, for a particular OS vulnerability, for particular port vulnerability, for particular file service vulnerability. For all the scenarios, they have created a malware with a payload. They have already done this. I think tomorrow, if you are seeing Metasploit, you'll be seeing how a payload can be created and made to be put on a system also. So you'll be getting more idea on that. But our idea is the malware has already landed on the system and how we can investigate what it did on the system. Okay. So hackers would be creating this malware to exploit these vulnerabilities on different machines. They'll be somehow delivering it to the machine using maybe it can be an email attachment, or anyhow they'll be trying to bring it to your system. Once it lands on your system, it would be exploiting the vulnerability which it is designed to and installing itself on your system. Once it is installed on your system, it will have a command and control communication with the hacker. He will be establishing a command and control communication with your system. He can further install more things. He can get more privilege access. All these things can happen, and he can get to do his objectives. So this is how a cyber kill chain works. So what we are trying to do over here is, as I mentioned, I'll repeat, someone is coming to us with a complaint that they fear they have lost their banking credentials. Okay, they suspicious that they lost their banking credentials to a banking fraud. Okay, and a malware is responsible for the same. So how can we investigate what happened on the system? We are going to look into that aspect. Okay, so how memory forensics can help for that is, someone's mic is on. How memory forensics can help for that is, let's say memory forensics will help us to know what all processes were running on your system. So you might be knowing that Windows has many processes running in the background. Many Windows processes are running in the background. So what this malware does is it exploits any of the legitimate Windows processes on the system. It exploits any of the Windows processes on the systems and tries to hide itself. So so an investigating officer needs to know what all processes can be running on a Windows machine. So that we can get to know from memory forensics. That is by capturing RAM. How can we capture RAM? Using FTK Major. There are many softwares. One we just discussed is FTK Major. Then what all connections your system was making. I told you that a command and control communication would be established with the hacker. So which all IPs was your system communicating to? So that list we can get, that network activity, whether a malware exists on your machine, whether that malware is trying to persist. What we mean by persistence is like, even if you switch off your machine, when you restart or reboot your machine, will the malware again start to act? So that is what we mean by persisting on the machine. So malwares can hide, but it has to run. For it to run, it has to be brought to the RAM. So that nowadays, most of the malwares, now you know that if you have an antivirus on your system, it would be scanning the hard disk and deleting all the stuff. So most of the malwares nowadays are fileless malware. They don't write themselves onto the hard disk. They reside only in the memory, that is the RAM. In that way, they can escape all this antivirus softwares to an extent. So, but if you are doing memory forensics, we can always catch hold of such malwares, which cannot be caught hold by going with the disk analysis. Okay, so we will be now next seeing how we can get to know whether a malware was there actually on the system, and if the malware was responsible for stealing the credentials of the victim, the banking credentials, which we discussed. Okay. For that, we require a bit of understanding of Windows processes, and then we'll be going to the practicals. So how we can take the memory image? It is using FTK image that we already saw. But to analyze the memory image, that is .mem extension file which we got, we need to have a separate software. So one such open source software available in the market is Voltility. So Voltility is a software that can analyze the memory dump. So we'll be seeing how we can do that and what all capabilities it has. But before that, we need to have an understanding of Windows processes. So what we mean by a process is, so let's keep things simple. Whatever we do on a system, a process is responsible for that. There's a process running in the background for that application. Let it be opening a Word file, or opening an Excel file, or booting your system. So there's a process that is responsible for taking care of this activity. Okay, so there's a process that is running in the background. This is some basic, I hope everyone is most of you are from computer science background. So this you have learned as part of the operating system. So the process, each process will be having a process ID and a parent process ID. So this also you have might have seen as part of operating system labs in your curriculum. Each process has a PID, which we'll be seeing it in practical. Each process has a PID and it would be having a parent PID. What we mean by parent is, now this tree shows the Windows core processes that might exist on a Windows 10 machine. So Windows 11 also, it's almost the same. But this tree, how we can interpret this is, when your system boots up, it starts from system. So when your system boots up, system is responsible for the boot up process. Then there are multiple, it spawns multiple processes. Creation of child process, the technical term we use is spawning. So it spawns SMSs.exe. So why I'm talking about this processes in a brief is because an investigating officer, if he is investigating a Windows system, he needs to have a good understanding of Windows processes. Only if he has an understanding of what Windows processes are, what each process is responsible for, what is the normal behavior of each process, he can get to know whether the process is deviating from its normal behavior. If it is deviating from its normal behavior and doing something that it is not supposed to do, it is a clue that there is something malicious happening on the system. That is why the investigating officer needs to have an understanding of the Windows core processes. So similarly, depending on different OS, they need to have an understanding of different OS. So now we are discussing just about Windows. So these are the Windows core processes. For example, a system would be spawning SMSs.exe, which would further spawn CSRSs and WinInit. WinInit would be spawning LSAS services and all those things. For example, LSAS takes care of all the authentications that happen on the system. So in a similar way, each Windows process is responsible for doing one or the other duty. Okay. Now, why I am discussing this is because I'm coming to that point. Now, the officer needs to know what each process is responsible for, what is or which should be the parent of that process. For example, svc host.exe, the parent is services. Services.exe process is going to be the parent of svc host.exe. But if he sees that svc host.exe is coming or being spawned by some other process. Let's say it is coming from user init.exe on the right hand side. He can be quite sure that svc host.exe has been hijacked or it has been manipulated by a malicious process, and we need to investigate that process further. So let me make it more simple. The first duty of the investigating officer is to identify out of all the running processes on that machine, which process is deviating from its normal behavior. Which process is deviating from its normal behavior. One of the deviations we usually find is mismatch in the parent-child relationship. What I mean by parent-child relationship is what I explained. Services is spawning svc host.exe. It should be, so svc host.exe should be spawned by services. But if svc host.exe is being spawned by some other process, it is an indicator of compromise that something malicious is happening. Hope that is clear. So these investigating officers usually have a cheat sheet with them. So this is an example of a cheat sheet. So for example, it gives us an idea. Let's say I will take one process as an example. Let's say WinInit, or let's say task host. So task host parent is services.exe. If you have a look at that fourth or third row, task host.exe's parent is services.exe. But if they see that services, it is services not exe is not the parent for task host.exe, they can be quite sure that there is something malicious happening. Hope you're getting starting to get an idea. Let's take another thing. svc host. Already I mentioned svc host parent is services.exe, but it is seeing that wininit.exe is the parent of svc host. It is an indicator of compromise that something malicious is happening. So the first thing that investigators look for, so you will be thinking where we can see this process, how they investigate. I'm coming to that. We are coming to that using Volatility. Volatility is the tool we'll be using to investigate all those things. But you need to have an idea how to investigate or what to investigate. That is what I'm discussing now. The first thing the investigators need to identify is one process. They need to target a process that can be malicious. Only then they can investigate that process alone. They can go behind that process alone. So let's say, parent-child relationship we discussed. Next is there is a path or location from which each process should be existing. For example, Explorer should be or most of the process come from System32. For example, let's take LSAS. LSAS comes from System32. But let's say the path system, it is not coming from System32. It is coming from somewhere else. That is also a clue to look for. That is, we have to investigate LSAS further. So the first task, I repeat, for the officer is to decide which process to investigate further. That is the first task. How he can decide is what I'm discussing now. It's based on the parent-child relationship. If there's a mismatch in parent-child relationship, we can discuss that. Someone trying to hand raise or communicate something?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The parent-child relationship, what we are talking about. So I'm to say that I wasn't aware that there is a parent to each and every process.
Okay.
So, and second thing is, now they have told I'm aware of it, but the thing is, I opened Task Manager many times. In the Task Manager, I have gone to services. Okay, I can see that SVC host, there are multiple entries of SVC host sometimes.
Yes.
My PC is hanging out, so I see that there are multiple entries. But how do I get to look that which is the parent from which the child has spawned?
That is
So
why we
how
need to have volatility, sir. Volatility, I'm coming to that tool that will show us that parent-child relationship mismatch and all those things.
Okay, sir.
We are coming to
Okay, sir. And sir, how do we get to this information that which are the, like you showed a tree right now? So do we have this information handy that this should be the parent and this
Yes.
is
This is readily available. These cheat sheets are available in the internet also. This is the main core processes. There are exhaustive list of processes. For each one, there's this chart. Such charts are available.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay. So the next thing we'll be looking is the path from where it is coming. Then, as Sir rightly mentioned, SVC host, Sir mentioned there'll be multiple SVC hosts. So I'm coming to that next. So the next property of the process is whether it is singleton or not. So you might have learned that heard of word singleton in discrete computation. So singleton means only one instance of it would be running. So you can see an yes or no for different processes. For certain processes, it is an yes. For certain processes, it is a no. What that means is, if it is a yes, it means there would be only one instance of that process running, or it should be running on the machine. So there should be only one instance of system running on the machine. That is what we mean by singleton. The SMSS.exe is not a singleton, because there can be multiple instances of SMSS.exe running on the system. As sir rightly asked, SVC host, we can see multiple times. That is because it is not a singleton process. We can have multiple instances of SVC host running. So it is not singleton. You see the value, it's a no. So how can this help us? If a process is singleton, let's take LSAS. LSAS is a singleton process, but there are, which means there should be only one instance of LSAS in the whole list of processes. But if we see more than one LSAS, it means that one of them is malicious. One of them is surely going to be malicious, and we need to investigate that process further. Okay, hope that makes sense. Then there is start time. So most of the process starts at boot time. Now, if a process is not, that is supposed to start at boot time, is not starting at boot time, that can be an indicator of compromise, that it might have been hijacked or it is behaving maliciously. So these are few things that investigators look for when they investigate processes. They also look for spellings. For example, svchost.exe. There might be a malicious process in the name scvhost.exe, which might, if we look using simple manual check, might not be visible to us. SVC host, SCV host, just a small spelling change, but it might be hiding as a SVC host. So all these things can happen. So we can see how we can investigate this. Okay, hope the objective is clear. So this basic knowledge is required to start with volatility. Those who are more interested can go and dig more deep into operating systems, Windows processes, how these processes work and all those things. But with this basic knowledge, we are good to start volatility. So coming back to the case, now we can start with the case. So I'll repeat the case again. Those who joined after the break, if you missed out, someone is coming to us with the complaint that they have lost the banking credentials. Okay, they have lost the banking credentials, that is username and password. We take their laptop, just capture the RAM, of the laptop, and let's start the investigation. How we can investigate using the RAM? How do you capture the RAM? Using FTK Imager. Using FTK Imager, you can capture the RAM. Once you get the RAM dump, that .mem, technically we say it as RAM dump. Once you get that RAM dump, we can use volatility to investigate that. So let's start how we can install volatility and or investigate using volatility. So for those who are interested in replicating this on your side, what I will be doing is, you need not have any installations for running volatility. You just, I'll be sharing after this, I'll be sharing a drive link. In that drive link, there will be a folder volatility underscore 2.6. This is a standalone software. You need not install anything for this. So just have this folder on your system. So those who are trying to replicate this, once I share that drive link, there will be in that drive link, there will be this folder volatility 2.6, which you can just copy on your system, anywhere, desktop or anywhere. That is all. Nothing to install, just copy it. Whatever things we are going to discuss is there inside this folder. So you can easily replicate that. Okay. So I'm just opening this volatility. And now I've captured the RAM of the machine. So we need to have some assumptions over here. So the victim came to us. I captured the RAM of that victim, and we are going to investigate that RAM dump using volatility. Okay. So I'm just opening command prompt over here, command prompt at this location. Hope the font is okay. So the first question asked was how we can get to know which processes are running. And sir asked me like, how can we know which is the parent process? Okay. So now volatility is standalone software. So what I'm doing is whatever I'm typing are commands to investigate. So volatility. If someone has a question, you can unmute and ask at any moment. Okay, because I'm not seeing the hand raises since my screen is shared. So volatility. pronounce it as volatility and all, volatility, minus F for specifying a file name. I have a file with me that is cridex.vmem. So you might think, what is this cridex.vmem? Just imagine this to be the RAM that is captured. Okay, this is the RAM that we have just captured, vmem. Can someone tell me why the extension .vmem instead of mem? Any guesses?
Virtual memory.
Yes, it was run in a VM and I had captured it. That is why it is vmem. I have just named the file cridex because that is the name of the malware we are going to investigate. But in the real world scenario, we won't be knowing it is if a malware exists or not. We'll be specifying the RAM dump as such. So volatility minus F. F stands for specifying the file name. F, the file name. Then the plugin is PS list. So this is so volatility is a list of plugins. There'll be n number of plugins out there for you. So PS list is one such plugin that lists out all the processes that were running on the machine. Okay. So if I run this PS list, let's see the output. So these were the processes that were running on the machine when the RAM was captured. Okay, please understand, when the RAM was captured, these are the processes that were running on the machine. Okay, this is how the investigation begins. I listed down all the processes. So just an overview of theory we learned. I told you that the booting happens with systems. So that is quite evident over here. System is the first process. You can see its PID is 4. Its PID is 4, but its PPID is 0, which means that is the parent process. Okay, that is going through the parent process. Now, 4 is the PID for system. System spawned or the child process it created was sms.exe. So 4 becomes the PPID for sms.exe and 368 becomes the PID for sms.exe. So 368, what 368 did on the system? It spawned CSRSS. Okay, so just to know if you quickly got this, I am asking you which process spawned svc host.exe. Can someone tell me by seeing this numbers? Which process spawned svc host.exe?
Services.exe.
Services, yes. So how we can interpret that is first svc host.exe PID is 824. Its PPID is 652. 652 happens to be the PID of services. So services is the parent. That is how we can check the parent-child relationship. Okay. So if we had more time, I would have given you time to identify which among this would be the process that we might investigate further. But in the interest of time, I'm going ahead. Okay. So in this case, so many, I told you the investigative officer needs to have an understanding of all the Windows core processes, what happens when the Windows system starts and all those things. So from that, one thing, I will give you just 1 minute. Can you identify a parent-child mismatch in this case just by looking at the PID and PPID? We can take half a minute for this. Can someone quickly identify which might be the process, as I told, we might be interested in investigating or starting to investigate with? Any quick answers? Just by looking at this PID and PPID, can you tell me?
So 1484.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are right, sir. That was quick. Thanks for that, sir. So 1484 happens to be the PID for Explorer. But if you see, there is no PPID with 1484. There is no PPID with 1484. So that is one clue to start with. Okay. Okay, good, sir. Then if I ask you, what did Explorer.exe spawn on the system, or what process was spawned by Explorer.exe? Can someone tell me the answer? Just to know whether you got this PID, PPID concept right. What process by spawned by Explorer.exe?
Reader SL.exe.
Reader SL, yes. So 1484 happens to be the parent for 1640, and 1640 is reader underscore SL.exe. So I'm not telling you this will surely be the malicious process. All these are clues to look for. So it is a time-taking process. If looking manually, there are scripts for this, but to learn, this is the best way. So first task of the investigating officer is to identify which is the malicious process that is deviating from the normal behaviors. And what is the normal behavior? Parent-child relationship, from where it is coming, the boot time mismatch, if it is a single tenant, it is having multiple instances. So all these are clues to look for. But in this case, I'm directly going and telling you the answer. It is explorer and reader underscore that might be suspicious. Okay. And there is another reason to see that it might be suspicious. And for those who don't know, what explorer is responsible for in our system is, if you click on some UI and it needs to open up, Explorer is taking care of those stuff. Okay, Explorer is taking care of all those UI opening and all those stuff on your system. So Explorer can open reader underscore sl.exe, which might be something for the PDF, or we don't know at this moment. We don't know, but why the investigating officer might feel this to be suspicious? Can someone tell me, based on the time? Based on the time you see over here, can someone tell me why this is more suspicious? Why do you feel this is more suspicious based on the time? I've just highlighted the time also. Anyone? Okay. So if you note, 2:42:36, 2:42:36 happens to be the time of booting. Okay, 2:42:31, 30. This is the time for booting of the system. Okay, so Explorer may happen as part of booting, but I told you someone opening reader underscore sl.exe won't happen at the boot time. So these two things, that is explorer.exe and reader underscore sl.exe, starting at the same time, is again something that we can be suspicious of. Both of them are starting at the same time, 2:42:36. So that is again making it more suspicious. Let's go and investigate this further. So this is just a clue to start for. Always this might not be right. This might be a false positive also. Then we have to come back and look for some other process. So at this moment, I have narrowed down on one of the processes, and I have a doubt that this might be the malicious process, that is Explorer, and it spawned reader underscore sl.exe. Okay. So going ahead, now I want to know what all IPs was this system connecting to when the RAM was captured. What all IPs was the system connecting to when the RAM was captured. So the only thing to do from here onwards is to replace the plugins. I told you this PS list was the first plugin. Its purpose is to list down all the processes. So the next plugin I'm going to use is ConScan. ConScan is the next plugin. ConScan. ConScan is the next plugin that I can use to know which all IPs the system was connecting to. So if I run it, you can see these are the two IPs to which the system was connecting when we captured the RAM. Okay, and again, which is the process that is making the connection? I'm just keeping on asking something because it's a command interface and you may lose track. Okay, so it is 1484 and it is Explorer. So Explorer is the process that is making this connection. So now the investigating officer knows that Explorer is never supposed to connect to outside IPs. It's not the expected behavior from the process Explorer. Its duty is to open things, UI, and all those things. It never connects to an external IP. So now we can be quite sure that Explorer is doing something malicious over here. Okay. And as an investigating officer, at this moment, I'll be making a note of these IPs also. I'll be just making a note of these two IPs, 41.168.5.140 and 125, because I don't know whether this may come later in the investigation. We might have to look this IPs. So we make a note of that. Hope this much is clear. Any doubt? So we narrowed down on Explorer and reader underscore sl.exe. So once we narrow down on a process which we feel might be malicious, the next thing we can do is we can take a process dump of that process. We take a dump of that process. We are working on a memory dump. Now we are going to take the dump of that particular process of which we are going to investigate or which we doubt that might be malicious. So in this case, explorer or readers underscore SL, both we doubt, we can take the process dump of any one of the process. So you might be thinking what we are going to do with that I am coming to that. So the next procedure is to take the process dump of the process which we are suspecting to be malicious. So now I am just taking the process dump of reader underscore SL. Okay, how we can do that is just to show it as a single line. I am reducing the font. The plugin is proc dump. So if you miss out on the plugins, I will also be sharing a document with the plugins and the screenshot answers in the drive link I'll be sharing. That has a well documented storyline of each plugin along with the results and its interpretation. Okay. So volatility minus f redex.vmm proc dump is that's a plugin for taking the dump of a process. So we need to specify which process. For that, we use minus p. Minus p is for specifying which process. So just can you look and tell me the PID for reader underscore SL? Anyone? Reader underscore SL PID?
1640.
1640. Thank you.
2164.
Thank you. 1640. So I'm taking the process dump of this particular process. Proc dump minus p 1640. And where should I dump it? I'm going to create a dump, right? So that location I can specify after this. For the ease of showing you, I'll be dumping it in the same folder which we are working. Okay. For doing that, I just give ---- dump -dir space dot, just to show you as a single line. This is how. So volatility minus f redex.vmm proc dump is for dumping the process which we are going to investigate, minus p for specifying the process, and after minus p we specify the PID of the process, then we specify where to dump it. So I'm going to dump it in the same folder where we are standing. That is why I just specified dot, a space and a dot. Okay. Once I run this, you can see the output is an executable. I'm getting an executable. Executable.1640.exe. That is a default naming with the PID 1640. Whichever process I am dumping, this would be the naming format. Executable.that_PID.exe. Okay. I got the dump of this process. Now I'm going back to that folder. So this was the folder I was working. So let me search for that. See, this is executable 1640.exe. You can see the time also 23/9/2025, 2029. So this is the executable that I just got. So this is the executable I just got. Now what I can do is there's a website, VirusTotal. Many of you might be aware, those who are into cybersecurity would be aware of it. There's a website, virustotal.com. Okay, yes, I hope my screen is getting shared. So there's this website, virustotal.com. I'll be just going there and uploading that process dump, which I have got. It's an executable. Okay, so I'll be just uploading that. I'm just uploading the executable that was just created using proc dump plugin. Once I upload, now I'll tell you what this website does and all those things. Now this is a website, virustotal.com is a website or a repository that is maintained by all the antivirus vendors and all the cybersecurity community. So whenever something malicious is reported, they actually upload the hash value of that file or that executable or that malware to this repository so that people keep on reporting such malicious stuff. Now I have got an executable. Okay, I upload it to VirusTotal. You can see that out of the 72 vendors, 30 of them have reported this to be malicious. They have already reported this to be malicious. If you have a further look, most of them have reported this to be a Trojan. So I hope everyone knows what a Trojan is. So it's a kind of Trojan. So now I confirm that reader underscore sl.exe for which I took the process dump and I uploaded it to VirusTotal is malicious. This is how I confirm. And tomorrow, as part of your malware session, you will be learning more on VirusTotal and its other features. For the time being, our purpose was just to confirm if that executable which we downloaded and uploaded is malicious or not. Okay. Any doubts till now? Here we have confirmed that if you remember the story, the victim had come to us with the complaint that they fear that their banking credentials have been lost. We started the investigation. Now, if the officer knows things, he would be seeing what kind of Trojan it is, and he would be also starting to get an idea that yes, it is infected and what to investigate and all those things. We'll be continuing with the investigation, but any doubts till now? This is how we investigate if there is something malicious running on that system. We have confirmed that there is something malicious running on that system and that reader_sl.exe is malicious and all. Okay. Any doubts? Okay. If no doubts, I'm just continuing. Okay. So I confirmed on reader_sl, right? I identified it is malicious. Now I want to see what is the content of this reader_sl and all those things. What is the content of the memory of this process? So don't get confused. I was working on the RAM or the memory or the RAM of the entire system. I have identified or narrowed down on a particular process that seems malicious. Now I am going to investigate the memory of that process alone. I'm going to investigate the memory of that process alone. Okay. So how we can do that is, instead of proc dump, the only thing I need to change is the plugin, that is memdump. I change the plugin to memdump. Okay. So I repeat. So volatility -f credex.vmem memdump. I am creating the memory dump of this process. -p, specify the process, that is 1640, and I am dumping it in the same location. Okay. Why this particular process, if you ask? I identified that it is malicious by uploading the process dump to virustotal.exe.com. So now I want to see the contents of the memory of that particular process. Why we need to see the memory contents? We are coming to that. This is how the investigation would go further. Okay. So once I run this, the output is a DMP file, .dmp file 1640.dmp. Let's go and see whether that file has been created in the location. Yeah, here 1640.dmp. It has been created 2034. Okay. So this is the file that was created. Now this is a dump file. We cannot see the contents of this file. Now in order to see the contents of this file, what we need to do is, there's a command strings. This is to pass out all the readable contents from the process memory. Now this process memory would consist of many gibberish kind of things, like it can be addresses, can be there, many things can be there. But now I am interested only in pulling out all those things that is human readable from this process dump or the memory associated with this process. How we can do that is strings is the command I use for that. So strings 1640.dmp, because 1640.dmp I cannot double click open and view it. I have to pull out all the strings from that. So in order to pull out all the strings and put it or copy it into a text file, this is the command strings 1640.dmp. I'll be copying it into, I'll be naming something as 1640.txt. I'm just naming the file as 1640.txt and just running it. Okay, now let me go and look whether such a text file has been created, 1640.txt. If you see 1640.txt has been created. I open this text file. So once I open this, and now this requires some kind of system software, operating system knowledge to interpret. But let's see how well even a layman can try to identify things from this. So again, in the interest of time, I am directly going to the answer. So if we scroll through this. It will take time. We have to just analyze everything. So what you are seeing is all the readable content from the process memory. Which process memory? Reader underscore sl.exe's memory. Okay. So if I go explore down, yeah, at a stage, at one stage, what I start seeing is I start seeing banking domain. Can you see this? You can start seeing banking domains over here. That is why now try to relate this to our case study. Our case study was someone had come to us with the complaint that they fear the banking credentials have been lost. Okay. And they have lost money or something like that. So this should not be there. One, now we identified this is a malicious process. Now within that malicious process memory, we are seeing in the code of that process memory, we are seeing this banking domain names. Okay. So you can see this is an American bank. It was a foreign malware that affected the west side more. So you can see many banking domains over here. So to give you a summary of what is happening over here. So whenever the victim or a person affected with this malware visits any of these banking websites, a keylogger gets activated. So if you explore further, there are codes for that. So a keylogger gets activated whenever the person visits the banking website. And whenever they type their username and password, it is getting captured. It is getting captured, and maybe it is being sent to a hacker. We don't know. At this moment, we don't know whether it is being sent to a hacker or not. Okay. Any doubts till now? Are you able to follow? Those are there on the other side. Those are following.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we captured the
Yes, sir.
username. Okay, thank you. So that username and password they are capturing whenever this keylogger gets activated. Whenever we visit this banking domains, they are capturing this. And let's see whether they are trying to send it to any hacker or not. How can you confirm? Can anyone tell me? I'd given you a clue when we started.
IP address.
Yeah, we had made a note of. Sorry, ma'am. Okay, we had made a note of 2 IP addresses in the beginning. So which Explorer and Reader underscore were communicating with. So if at all we can find that IP address in this code. Now, hope you understood. This is the code of this particular process, malicious process, which we are seeing. If we are able to see that IP in this code, it means that that might be the IP to which things are being sent to. The username and password that is captured is being sent to. So I'm just using Control F and I'm typing that IP, which I had made a note of 41.168.5.140. Okay. Yes. So there are multiple IPs over here. So this is just one among that IP. So those who are into HTML and all, you will be knowing to this IP, to this particular folder or directory, the things are being sent to. So that username and password would have been captured and been sent to this locations. Okay. Got an idea? So there is more to this case, but I have just started with this. How we can investigate this further we can investigate whom this IP belongs to and all those things, whether this malware is trying to persist. We can do registry analysis. So as we go into depth, there's more into that. So since we are somewhat on the dead timeline we are reaching, I'm just stopping here. But now we have confirmed that he had been affected. Now forensics is not prevention, it is investigation. So we can prepare a report now. How can I prepare a report? I'll be telling, okay, these processes were running and it was communicating with this IP and it was trying to capture this username and password and trying to send it to those IPs. Okay. And there's more to this. There is registry analysis and all those things. So what actually happened over here is, otherwise I will just show you one more step. You will be able to better appreciate things in more depth. I'll just show you one more step. So now I identified that this IP is being communicated to and they are sending things to this IP. Now I want to know, as an investigating officer, can you tell what you will be doing next? You need to see whether this malware is trying to persist on the machine. What do you mean by persistent? Now just imagine in this way. If you were a hacker, will you design a malware that runs only one, if it was in the RAM and if you shut down the machine, then it is lost. Will you design such a malware? You won't. Why? Because during that instance of the system running, there is less chance that that person might visit a banking website. So if you are a hacker, you will be designing a malware that persists on the machine. What I mean by persistence is each time when the system boots up, this malware has to be bought up. Okay, so how can I check persistence? That is what we are going to look next. How can we check whether the system is, the malware is persisting? Now for this, I'm giving you clues on how you can build and explore further in this domain. You need to have a knowledge on registry analysis, how Windows registries work, where things are stored in Windows registry. So those who have already explored registry, you would have heard things like SAM, system, software, all those things. So those are Windows registry. So we cannot go into those details now, but those who know Windows registry, the investigating officer would be knowing about Windows registry. What they will be doing is they know a particular location where to go and look for persistence. That is, if at all the malware is trying to persist, it will leave a trace in that particular registry. It will have to make a registry entry in that location. Only then, each time that malware can come when the system boots up. Okay. So the thing is volatility -f credx.vmm. I'm just minimizing to enter it as a single line. So print key. So registry entries are key value pairs. So the plugin used is print key -k, capital K, and the location is, there is a registry with the name software. In software, I am interested in looking in Microsoft Windows / current version. So this is the location. So you might ask, how do I know this is the location I need to look for? For that, we need to have an understanding about Windows registry. Okay. So this is the location where I can look for. What we have to look for, I will just show you. On running this, we get key value pairs. So directly going to the answer, there is one registry entry that he will find to be suspicious, like KB00207877.exe, and it is coming from C documents and settings, robot application data. So documents and settings, this location, such an executable residing in this location seems to be suspicious. Okay, this seems to be suspicious. So this might be the executable that is responsible for loading the malware each time the system boots up. Can someone logically think from an investigating perspective, how can I confirm whether this executable is related to the case we are investigating? Where can I look and confirm? Anyone who is following, can you just think of a way? I got this executable from a registry location. How can I confirm whether this is related to the case? Anyone? We had that process memory, right? We had that process memory. Okay, so in this process memory, if there is a mention of this file, that is, I'm just typing over here, KB00207877.exe. Yes, I can find that executable in this memory associated with the process. So that is a confirmation that all these things are linked. So I'll just repeat what was happening over here. If the malware needs to persist, that is boot up each time the system is booting up, it has to leave a registry entry. It has to make a modification in the registry entry value and leave this executable. Now, when this system boots up, this executable runs. This executable runs and it loads the malware into explorer.exe. So explorer.exe was the legitimate process that was infected. So for the malware to exist, what these people usually do is, hackers usually do is, they find flaws with or vulnerabilities in the Windows core processors. So Explorer has certain vulnerabilities. which was exploited to, so when this executable is running, what it can do is, the technical term is process hallowing or process hijacking. Process is getting hallowed. Hallowed means Explorer, the malware is loaded into Explorer. The Explorer's memory is getting replaced. A portion of Explorer.exe's memory is getting replaced with that of this malware. And then this Explorer, because of this code, is spawning reader_SL. And whenever a user visited the banking website, a keylogger gets activated as part of the code, and that username and password are collected and sent to that IP. So this was a real life Trojan. The name was Credex. Credex was a real life Trojan that hit the banking sector. So this is a real world example. So this is how we can do a memory forensic kind of investigation. Okay. I've been a bit fast over here. I understand that. So any doubts or discussion on this? I doubt whether we have time to go to autopsy. I'll just show you a few other things and then wind up. Any doubts with this? At least this is communicated. This volatility, the use of volatility, or how we investigated a banking credential theft case.
Sir, we
Yes,
can
sir.
open ms.tsc.edit file, the registry file. Okay. So that is how I think in Windows Run we execute that command mstsc.edit file, and
Okay.
then get this the software and Windows and this one Microsoft. That you can go directly to this registry and you can see if there is a .exe entry, that means it's incorrect or
Yes,
it is not
yes,
listed.
that we can do. But it is this malware that is operating in this way. Now, in the initial case, we did not know. There are different approaches. What you said is also right. You can directly look into the system, but usually forensic people are never supposed to work on the device itself. Okay.
Yeah,
So we take that RAM dump, and then this was the procedure which we followed. So as part of taking the dump, we can get the registry dump also. That we can analyze using another software. We are actually not supposed to work on the original system.
Correct, sir. Sorry, sir.
Okay. No, that is possible. Now, if it is you are doing an independent research, you can do that. Okay, forensically, but that won't be sound. That's all.
Okay, yeah, thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Ma'am, our time is till 9, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm not starting with autopsy. I'll just give you an intro of magnet axiom and a bit of mobile forensics. Okay, because we have not touched mobile. Okay. So coming back to the things. So now this mobile
Sir,
forensics.
can we, sir, just for the curiosity, can we download autopsy or is it available as part of any operating
Yes,
system?
I know. I'll just show you that autopsy is just you can just search for autopsy download, and it's a straightforward download also. From this website, you can. It's open source. You can download for Windows 64-bit. You have to just fill this form. That's all. Anyone can download, and it's a direct installation. Next, and you can. So what I'll just give you an idea what was the purpose of autopsy. So various aspects we were doing is, one was we captured the RAM. We captured the RAM and did the analysis using volatility. Now we capture the hard disk and we can analyze it using autopsy. So if at all we are capturing a hard disk, we'll be using autopsy to analyze that. Okay. So autopsy is software. Once you install it, you will be getting a dog-like icon over here. It would take another 45 minutes, so I'm not going into that. I thought that every topic would be 1 hour each, but it didn't go as per the plan. So this, you can open a case all those things are there. Okay, you will get very good YouTube walkthroughs also for this. I'm just discussing a bit on mobile forensics, and I'll just show you one Magnet Axiom software which we have with us. That is a proprietary software. Okay. So coming to mobile forensics is a bit different when it comes to computer forensics. Can someone just logically tell me, if you were the digital forensic first responder who is trying to catch hold of a culprit and he has a mobile phone, what all things you would do to confiscate that mobile phone? You have clues on the screen, but still, can you just tell me? Think logically. Every one of us use mobile phones. So if we were to capture someone or get hold of someone's mobile phone, what would be our approach be? What would be the first thing you will do? Anyone? Everyone are mobile users. Usually for this, we get a lot of clues, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Data acquisition?
No, before that, before taking the mobile phone to FSL, what precautions we can do on that mobile phone? Okay, I'll make things simple. So one thing is, if the person was using the mobile phone, that is, we have the mobile phone in the unlocked state. If we have the mobile phone in the unlocked state, the officer should not miss a chance to disable the passcode. There are two states we can obtain the mobile phone. It might be in the locked state, or it can be in the unlocked state. So if at all it is in the unlocked state, the officer, he has to in that hurry, what he has to do is he has to somehow disable the passcode. Why? Because if at all we get the mobile phone in the locked state, breaking into the mobile phone is not that easy nowadays. Earlier it used to be easier, but with the latest encryptions and all out there, it is not always easy to bypass the passcode. I'm not telling you it is impossible. If you ask me, like there are softwares, but that's in all the police cases they won't be using it. Even we don't have it. In India, there is only 2 agencies that have the software. It costs 10 crores per year. The license to break or bypass the passcode of a mobile phone cost about 10 crores, the license fee for 1 year. And they give it only to law enforcement agencies. Academics won't be able to get that option. So, and these people won't be using it for each and every case. Only if it's a high profile case or terrorist involved case, they'll be using such high end softwares. So if at all there's a chance, we need to get, we can disable the passcode, or officers ask them to give the passcode, or they use third degree. That is the approach our officers usually use. Then the next thing is, we should be disabling all the networks on the phone. Can someone tell me why? Why should we disable all the network on the phone? Even Wi-Fi, or earlier we used to say we can put the phone in airplane mode, but nowadays we cannot even trust airplane mode because Wi-Fi is available in airplane mode in the latest versions. So we should be disabling all the networks and Wi-Fi. Why? Any idea? All this happens at the crime scene, okay? Means whenever the police officer confiscates the mobile phone. I think everyone dispersed for dinner already. I understand it's a odd time. So just winding
Sir, because
yeah.
so that he may not remotely wipe it off.
Yes, correct, sir. Because disk remote wiping is possible, and location identification is possible through remote softwares and even SMSs. So we should be disabling all those things. Then then it is now, if we have unlocked it, we should see that the phone doesn't go to sleep or lock back again. So these first responders should always have a backup, like they should have a portable battery and an anti-static back. So anti-static back, what it does is it prevents any external electronic interference or communications. So they put the phone along by connecting the battery. They disable the, they make the stay awake settings on disable the passcode and put it in the anti-static bags, and it is transferred to the FSL. So this is the procedure that is followed for mobile acquisition. Okay. Now, what is the current state of mobile forensics? I will just tell you. In computer forensics, we can get almost everything from a computer. Even the deleted content, all those things we can get from a computer. But in mobile phone, it is not that easy. There are three types of acquisition. There is logical acquisition, file system acquisition, and physical acquisition. Physical acquisition is similar to your bit-by-bit copy. But nowadays, in modern mobile phones, because of all the encryptions, Android has file-based encryption, iOS has its own encryption. So based on this encryptions, we can never get physical acquisition. So if something is deleted on your mobile phone, it is very rare that it can be recovered by the police officers in the modern mobile phones. What you can best get is a file system acquisition. What things you get from a file system acquisition is SMSs, contact, call logs, all the media content, that is photos, all the app data, all the third-party app data. For example, third-party app, WhatsApp is a third-party app. All the chats, all those things we can get, even the hidden files. So we can get a file system acquisition from a mobile phone. So I'll just show you an interface of Axiom also, what it is capable of. So this is an interface of Magnet Axiom. This is a proprietary license that we have with us. So that is capable of acquiring computer, mobile, all the cloud. So if you imagine what a cloud is, if I go to cloud, you can see all this Amazon, AWS, Apple, Dropbox, Facebook, Instagram, all these acquisitions would be happening via the software. Okay. If I come back, mobile, all the mobiles are supported. It can be Android, iOS, Windows Phone, or SIM card. All this are supported. Okay. Even a vehicle infotainment system can be acquired using Magnet Axiom. In a computer, Windows, Mac, Linux, Chromebook, all these things are supported. So if we had time, we would be exploring how these acquisitions happen. I'll just show you if we acquire a mobile phone, what all informations would be available. So this is a processed case. I've already processed a case with multiple mobile phones. So if you have a look, this is how the interface of what we discussed till now was just acquisition. FTK Imager was just used for acquisition. It is not an analysis software. You can acquire things using FTK, or Magnet Axiom also is used for acquisition. Once we acquire, to analyze that, we require another software. One of the softwares is Magnet Axiom. I showed you a PPT with many softwares. So Encase, Cellbrite UFED, Autopsy, Mobile Forensics, all these are other softwares that we can use for analysis. So this is how the analysis result would be coming up. So we'll be getting different categories, say like what all Facebook URLs you were searching through. So all the Facebook URLs you were searching through, what all Google searches you were doing. So all the Google searches you were performing. Okay. So I'll just show you some chats if possible, WhatsApp chats. These are the call logs. All call logs that were there on the phone. This is WhatsApp chat. WhatsApp chat. So all the media content, all the photos that were there on the phone. For example, so all the photos that were on the phone. So based on this software, what people, the investigators do is they right click, if they feel, say this is the evidence, they feel that this image is an evidence, they right click on it, and there is option to add it to artifacts. So they start creating tags for each and every evidences. Okay, they start creating tags for each and every evidences, and all these tags would be coming as a final report. This image, the tag, from where it is obtained. So all these things would be coming as a report, and it is that report that they submit it to the court. So that is the forensic process that happens. I hope you got that flow of events, even though we were not able to look the software. Okay, I'll stop here. It's 9 already. We can take questions, any questions on this process flow and all those things. I'll just quickly summarize on few things so that we can wind up with that. So one thing, if you are dealing with a computer, you are the crime scene, you capture the RAM, you shut down the system, take it to FSL, connect it to write blocker, connect it to workstation, decide whether physical acquisition or logical acquisition, create the physical copy using FTK imager, create one more copy for backup, then start investigating on that forensic image. So if you want to analyze a disk image, you have different softwares. If you want to analyze RAM, you have different softwares. So RAM can be used for multiple purposes. One thing which we look today is analyzing the RAM for malicious content. If we feel that it is affected by some kind of malware or anything, how we can investigate that using volatility. That is one thing which we saw. Okay, just quickly summarizing those things. And if someone is interested in replicating this or how we can conduct a lab or a workshop for your students, or many of you might be thinking what kind of student projects students can do, because if someone wants to do a project in cybersecurity, what kind of projects they can do in this domain. I'll just brief you quickly. So from what you looked today, volatility, you saw different plugins, right? You saw different plugins in volatility. So those plugins are open source plugins contributed by developers out there. So what students can do is they can learn volatility. They can identify a problem that has not yet been addressed. For example, I will tell you one problem I am working with one of my project team is there is no plugin that can identify or pull out all the Tor related or the dark web related evidences, or whether someone has done a cryptocurrency transaction. I want to pull out which public address or private address they were using, or the seed phrase they were using. Those are into blockchain would be knowing all these things. I want to pull out all this information. So there is no plugin that exists for this. So we developed a plugin for this use case. So that developing a plugin we can do using Python. So developing a plugin for this can be a project for your students. Another thing what they can do is just take a VM, just create a VM, install a malware or a ransomware, latest malware or a ransomware, take the RAM capture, start investigating that using volatility. What they can bring in deep learning, machine learning, and all those things. Well, this memory capture can be converted to a PE or an image file also, and that image file they can analyze using deep learning and all. Then volatility and ChatGPT can be combined. When you develop a plugin, you can have an explanation. Why does that plugin feel that it thinks this is malicious? So ChatGPT or those kind of LLM models can be combined with volatility. So all these are some project combinations that we can have. Then someone who is into deep learning, you can always have this text and image analysis. You want to see if any illegal content is present on mobile phone or your laptop. You can combine Autopsy. Now, Autopsy doesn't have AI features. By AI features, I mean, let's say you are interested in pulling out all the drugs images or any obscene images from the laptop. Now you can write an AI script and combine it with Autopsy to pull all this out. So you can always bring in a machine learning, deep learning, along with forensics also. So just a quick wind up. Sorry for taking that additional time. And thank you, participants. I understand I could not do complete justice to all the topics that were conveyed because the time was not enough for all those things. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. If participants have any queries, you can use this platform.
Good evening, Mr. Ebin Oman, Doctor.
Good evening, sir.
Very interesting, actually. All your experience you have shared. I am basically, actually professor working with MGR. This is
Okay,
my
sir.
second job. Already I worked with NIC for 38 years. I retired. After that, I joined here.
Okay,
So
sir.
I am teaching MTech cyber security people, actually, cyber security here. They're
Okay.
taking actually.
Okay.
So as far as the software is concerned, there are plenty of software available for cybercrime investigation.
Yes,
Depends upon the disk forensics or
Mhm.
memory or anything, application or something like that.
Yes,
So
sir.
which one is better and the people can be trained?
Sir,
FTK, NCASE,
okay,
Autopsy.
okay,
So many softwares are available. Maxima, something.
Yes, I'll just put that straight.
Oh.
Sir, that the institute is willing to investigate, only then we can go with all this NKs, because that is licensed software. So if the institute is not want to go with the open source, the best thing is Autopsy for disk forensics, Volatility for memory forensics, Wireshark for network forensics.
Okay. You use that
Magnet
Wireshark
Axiom.
as well as Axiom, something like that?
Axiom is a proprietary licensed one that cost around 8 lakhs per year to renew the license.
There is no problem. College, university ready to purchase that.
Then you can always start with Magnet Axiom, sir. That is the best academic software.
Okay. For cyber.
Not for cyber security.
Investigation.
For forensic investigation.
Okay. Thank you. Your lecture is good, actually, more mathematical oriented. Good, actually. More application also, you should have told some other examples. But anyway, no problem, actually. These are all the initial stages. We enjoyed the class, actually. Thank you again, Dr. Oman. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, one question. I'm from Gujarat, sir. So can institute become a forensic lab to help the government?
No, sir. It's very difficult. As of now, only NFSU and RRU. You are from Gujarat. You will be knowing NFSU and RRU. Yeah. So they are due to that. Otherwise, it's very difficult for us to get that certification. So they don't give it to academic institutes. That NFSU and RRU is coming under that government, that policy and all those. That's why they have that.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, sir.
Sir, can you show me the keylogger, sir?
Keylogger.
Keyloggers.
Keylogger, I don't have, sir. It is as part of the text file. There are code written to capture the username and password, sir. What I meant by keylogger is what the technology they use. They capturing that keystrokes using code. In this text file, it is actually 20,000 or like 2-3 lakhs of lines, sir. If we sit and I don't know the correct number. If we investigate, we can find that whenever that website is visited and that username, password. Let me just see username with that keyword.
Means any practical scenario, sir? One example scenario.
Means where keylogger is used.
Means can you show me that keylogger?
So it's there are hardware keyloggers and software keyloggers. Like you might be knowing that in this web cafes and all, they use this hardware keylogger on back of that our CPU they connect, and all our keystrokes get collected. Whatever we type gets collected. This is a software keylogger. They have coded in such a way that whenever a user visits this banking website, that gets activated, that code gets activated, and whenever it sees a field like username, password, so it knows for each and every bank that was listed how the username and password fields are shown. So whenever it sees in such a way, that time it starts logging the keys. I don't know I don't remember the exact line where each of the bank is there, because this is lakhs of lines of code for just that particular processor.
Good evening, sir. As per as admissibility of this evidence finding, so if we use the open source tool, will it be okay?
Yes, ma'am. Autopsy is also used by but almost all the agencies have this proprietary tools. And now the law says there should be 2 tools you should be using for preparing the report. So most of them go with the proprietary ones because that has more facilities. You can use Autopsy. That expert witness who is defending in the court of law should have that much knowledge to defend it. That's all. It's not like Autopsy cannot be used. Autopsy can be used.
Okay.
But almost all investigation agencies have this proprietary software.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, in academics, to show the some of the practical scenarios, how we can show it, sir? Because most of the institutions, yesterday also I raised the same question. Most of the institutions, they don't have forensics lab, up to my knowledge.
Okay.
Private universities or private colleges.
That is why I told you, sir, the only option for us is to learn through Autopsy, Volatility, Wireshark. I'll just tell you how we can just run a lab using only these 3 things. For example, if you want to learn computer forensics, we can take a system, create case on that system. So what we encourage students to come up with a criminal case. It can be some kind of murder planning or some kind of IPR theft. So they take 2 to 3 weeks. They build all the data or do all the things on that computer or that VM. Then they take the forensic image using FTK. FTK is free. Then they analyze the image using autopsy. Autopsy is free. Now they know, now what they can do is, now one team has built a case. Now this forensic image can be given to another team, and that team's forensic image can be given to this team, and the teams can be told to identify all the artifacts. So then that they can do using autopsy. They can create reports using autopsy. Then that is regarding computer forensics. When it comes to memory forensics, they can download some malwares, of course in VM, in confined environment, install it on the VM. I showed you one for Cridex. I had run Cridex on my VM. Or Shylock is there, Stuxnet is there. Famous malwares are there, new ones are there. They can run the malware on the VM, capture the memory using FTK. Again, it's free only. Analyze it using Volatility. Again, Volatility is free. Then coming to network forensics, you can use Wireshark, where you get good dumps of PCAP files, that is of network traffic that is malicious, or you can create a network and maybe simulate a DOS attack or DDoS attack on different machines. Then you can capture that PCAP file, analyze it using Wireshark. Again, it is free. There's no need for going for with proprietary things for just academic purpose. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Whatever you told now, can I get some documentation or some website like you told now?
These things, website, we won't be getting this information.
Means,
sir.
That means that you told
what we try to implement. I just shared my experience.
No. You told good hierarchy. So can I get that hierarchy?
Yes, I'll be sharing a drive link with all those things I discussed today. In that, I will try to put a document of what I just described.
No, especially you told about the lab, how to deal with the practical with the student.
Okay, sir.
Sir, one more thing. Whatever we do the task, no, it will be we will get history. So whatever we do on the laptop, that what we say, sir, I forget that. Means whatever the task we will do, it will be there.
Artifact, sir. I'm not getting what you are referring to correctly, sir.
Means
the history would be there.
The task we did on the laptop, it will be stored.
Yes, sir. The history or timeline would be there.
No. What is that technically we say?
Task we did on the system, sir. I did not mention anything explicitly for that, sir. Like, I'm not getting what you are correctly referring to.
It is computer forensic he is talking about.
No, computer forensics is a generic term. So you're referring to the artifacts or?
No, it is artifacts only. History of all that. What he referred, complete history actually.
Artifacts and the timeline we get, sir. All those.
Yes, artifacts only.
No, for example, now you use it, sir. Can you show it in your laptop? You use it so and so websites and tools that it will show no. That you can show it me.
Yes, sir. This is of a mobile phone that I showed you. For example, what all websites were searched. That you want to show. You want to see an example, right, sir?
Yes, sir. Means whatever you did on your laptop, we will get.
This is in this way only, sir. So, for example, all the Google, there is a tab for Google searches. I click on that. This is the Google search history of that person. So, similarly, each and everything, all the chats or images, everything would be coming in this analysis software. But the input to this analysis software is that disk dump of the forensic image of the hard disk. That is taken using FTK Imager. That we upload to the softwares like Autopsy or Magnetaxi.
Okay, sir. So these cookies, how we should be careful about cookies, sir? Every time, most of the website nowadays, they are saying hello.
Okay, so I'm not that into that network part. Yeah, you can read the which all permissions they are taking, and you can be careful, sir. But yeah.
Even these hackers, they will also send cookies, sir, in the malicious websites.
Yes, sir. Not only cookies, they are getting a reverse TCP connection to our machine using that command and control service. So then after that, they need not depend on the cookies, sir. They have the whole control on the machine once they get that C2C, that what I mentioned.
So can you show me the cell prompt? Cell prompt hackers are malicious, how they will do it, activate the
how they design this malware and all those stuff, sir?
No. They means they will send automatically, the command prompt will be open. No, to it will
Okay.
execute some
That
commands.
Metasploit needs to be there, sir. I think tomorrow you have a session on that. They will be hopefully Jobin sir will be showing you how that reverse TCP shell can be connected. Once that the TCP shell reverse TCP is enabled, whatever is happening on your screen would be replicated on that screen, sir, on the hacker screen. They can get and using commands they'll be getting to see all your files and all those things, sir. I don't have Metasploit on this machine.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Good session.
Thank you.
I think we can proceed to wind up the session. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
It gives me immense pleasure to extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Ebin sir for delivering an exceptionally insightful and highly engaging session on digital forensics. The session provided a detailed introduction of the digital investigation process, covering the key phases like evidence identification, collection, preservation, reporting, and everything. Ebin sir also demonstrated that data acquisition using FTK Imager that was extremely insightful, showing us the best practices for creating forensically sound images. And also during this session, we also gained a deep insights into the memory forensics using volatility, where sir demonstrated the techniques to detect the malicious executables in memory. And also he gives us a brief intro about the mobile forensics. Actually, the session brilliantly combined the theory with hands-on practical demonstrations, making complex forensics workflow clear, engaging, and highly informative. I would like to thank Ebin sir for sharing his practical tips and guidance, which made the session very informative and truly inspiring. It was really a privilege to learn from you, sir. As one of our participants, Tejasvi Gupta sir mentioned, many of us, including myself, who are not experienced much in this field of digital forensics, got really inspired to dig deeper into the world of digital forensics. Once again, on behalf of the entire participants over here and the organizing committee, I would like to take this opportunity to extend heartfelt thanks to Dr. Ebin Uman Phillips, sir, for such an insightful and inspiring session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Bismin ma'am. And thank you, participants, for the active participation. Those who want to connect offline also, I just shared my email ID. I'm just seeing the chats. I could see a couple of chats. You may just mail me also. I can share the contact also. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity as well.
Next, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our esteemed participants for their active engagement, which made the session so lively and interactive. So that's come to the end of day 2 of our FDP. Stay tuned for day 3, where we dive into the deep of malware analysis and penetration testing. Thank you all. Good night.